Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. They're unanticipated. Last week we had a death of one of our town employees, David Breyer, a firefighter, active duty firefighter. There was a very moving memorial service at the fire station this Friday night. I think it hopefully brought a lot of comfort to the family. Would you all join me in a moment of silence for the Breyer family and Dave Breyer? Thank you. I would like to send a letter of thanks. There were many surrounding departments assisted the fire chief in coordinating this memorial service. I'd like to send a letter of thanks to them, to the various fire departments. Can we get a letter? Jackie, can you get a list of the departments from the chief? I would entertain a motion relative.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous. Under unanticipated also, we have, every year we send to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe a letter requesting our mitigation payments. Thank you. This is very important. It's only $1 million now they owe us. So we have to send this out. Charlie was going to send this out, but realized that it comes under the Board of Selectmen, and the chairman usually signs a letter. So I would entertain a motion to send this letter to the to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe for our mitigation payment.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any comments or questions? All those in...
Mr. Chair, what's the total?
We're up to $1 million now.
Thank you.
COD?
Yes. Yeah, card on delivery, yes.
Is there anything in there about getting together and trying to figure this out with them, if they'd like to? I know we say that every year. They say that they were more than willing to get in touch with us and talk to us, and then they never return our phone calls.
Well,
but I was just wondering if it was in there.
It certainly, the letter in itself begs that they should make a call, but when the phone doesn't ring, you know who's calling, right?
Right.
So, all those in favor of sending this letter?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. All right, I'll sign that tonight, Jackie. You have that ready? Or is it
I
this one?
wasn't aware there was a mistake.
Okay. I'll sign that when you get it? The letter?
It's all ready.
Okay. Done.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have it.
Is that it? I'll gladly sign it. Okay, anything else? Anybody else have anything under unanticipated in the audience? Mr. Bond. And friend.
It's unanticipated, but it's coming. Crazy Days is coming.
Yes, they
And
are.
I was asked again this year to do some magic for the community. We will be doing magic on both Friday and Saturday, and this is my little co-star. Alan, quit looking at him like that. He is not serious.
I don't know how long you can stay.
His name is Charlie, and he's quite a good-looking young
he?
fellow, just like our town manager.
Oh, there you go.
And he will be helping to do magic and entertain the kids. One of the things that I will be doing this year that I did not do last year, and the selectmen are only permitted to watch, not participate, is they will be placing me in handcuffs. There's one.
Please.
They will be placing me in a mailbag. They will be locking the top of the mailbag. Stop looking at me that way, Charlie.
It's getting better and better.
They will then place me inside a crate, put a top on a crate, and tie the crate up from the outside, and I will, hopefully, from my perspective, possibly not yours, but from my perspective, escape in under 3 minutes. So that is the trick this year that I hope to accomplish, and I hope to accomplish in something less than an embarrassing, blood-curdling screams from the inside saying, "Let me the heck out of here." So I just want to let everybody know that. You should come to Crazy Days. It was wonderful last year. Hopefully the weather will be better this year. And if you want to, apparently there's a line to dunk Allen in the dunk tank.
There's a longer line to put stamps on your crate.
And you guys can see Charlie there, and hopefully I'll get out of the box.
Was your crate supposed to be moved to the Assawamsett Pond complex by any
I can
chance?
actually do it getting out of the water.
Can you?
Yes, I can.
We've got the
But I'm
dunk
not
tank.
going to be doing that. There were suggestions of doing it while on fire from Jack Healy. Somebody talked about red ants. Somebody else talked about termites. In the past, somebody talked about wild dogs. I'm just going to get out of the crate. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Anybody else?
How do you follow that?
Board has certainly gone, I don't know, to new levels, hasn't it? Anybody else have anything unanticipated? What?
I think I'll wait, it's an announcement, so.
No? Okay, now we'll go to announcements. Anybody have anything under announcements?
Mr. Chairman,
Whoa, yes, go ahead, right ahead on.
the town of Middleborough, in partnership with the town of Fairhaven, as the lead community, has been awarded $894,657 of community development block grant funds by the Mass Department of Housing and Community Development. Yay. Yeah, almost $1 million there. These funds will be used for the rehabilitation of 8 homes, 4 in Fairhaven and 4 in Middleborough. In addition, the funds will be used for roadway improvements to Elliott Road in Fairhaven and for Park and Sproat Street in Middleborough.
Good.
So, that's good news.
Finally got
Yes.
some money from the state.
It's very good news, and I just want to congratulate Jane Kudzy for all her hard work on getting, that application funded.
Yes.
Thanks go out to the Fairhaven Board of
And-
Selectmen and the
Absolutely.
planning department down there for working on that.
Yes.
They did a great
Yes.
job. Chief, you have something, I believe?
Another sad announcement. Last Thursday, we lost a former janitor at the police station, Lou Matty. He was 99. He worked at the police station for a lot of years, and I think he retired in the mid-'80s. But he was a real gentleman, and he'll be missed. His wake's tomorrow, 4 to 8 at Ashley's, and the funeral's Wednesday morning at 8.
Thank you, Chief. Sorry for the loss. Anything else under announcements?
Mr. Chair.
Probably.
Yeah, another sad announcement. Lorenzo Grasso of Lorenzo's Restaurant passed away over the weekend. His wake is actually tonight now. But I'm sure everybody's had a few good meals at Lorenzo's, and he really was a staple of the community, and he'll be missed.
Anything?
Just Crazy Days is coming up. Tickets to the Outlaw Country Dance Party are still available for dinner and dancing. I believe that starts at 5 o'clock, and it's $20 per person, $35 for 2, and you can pay in advance. I believe tickets are available at the Custom Decorator right downtown.
And you're going to have the dunk tank, huh?
There will
The
be the
Nancy's
dunk
can
tank.
come out and hit anything?
I believe the dunk tank is $5 for 3 balls, and all the proceeds go to local charity.
Okay,
So it should be a lot of fun.
very good.
We're all going to be taking our turn in the tank.
Yes. Quill, anything? Good. No? Okay. You're all set? Okay. Minutes for anybody, any announcements from the audience? Okay, thank you. Minutes from the September 15th meeting?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right. Any comments or questions or corrections? Okay, all those in favor?
Sorry, didn't get in. July 15th, right?
That's what I said, July.
September, you said.
You said September?
Yes, you did.
Was it?
Yes. No, it's right.
Plan ahead. Okay, for July 15th then. We have a motion and a second, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Abstain?
And one abstention. At this time, Before I do that, how about a vote, entertain a motion to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign the warrants for week ending 7/26?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, at this time, we're going to, would entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public official, employee, staff member, or individual with the intent to go into open session, to return to open session.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion?
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Poll vote, I'm sorry, poll vote?
Yes.
Mr. Quill?
Aye.
Mr., whatever your name is, Nolan?
Aye.
Mr. Quill? Yeah.
Aye.
You too?
You.
Sorry, I'm having a bad night here. And aye. Okay, we're going to go into executive session. We'll return to open session in a few minutes. You'll have to leave the room.
full of kids, huh?
Put your,
You want to stay here forever?
put your microphones back.
That's two things. Okay, we'd like to return to open session now. We're into new business. The first item on new business is a vote to reinstate Anthony Albata to the position of police officer with the town of Middleborough. Chief, you want to address this issue?
Tony left about a year and a half ago to go in the private sector on his own. He wasn't asked to leave or anything like that. About 6 months ago, he came back, and this was his first love, according to him, so he would like to come back. I told him I didn't have an opening at that time, but I do now, so I would entertain reappointing him.
So he meets all the necessary criteria, he's done all the background checks, and
Yep, we just did an up-to-date fingerprint on him. He should be good to go.
should be or is.
No, he is. He's ready.
Entertain any comments or questions from my board members? Yes.
What's the retrain process for something like this?
If they're not out over 5 years, he's only been gone, I think he left in January 2012. As long as they're not out 5 years, they don't have to go through the full academy. He will have to go to a 40-hour refresher. He's already come in and we firearms trained him at his first responder and CPR, so he should be ready to go now.
Okay, thank you.
What's the 40-hour training involved?
That's annual. Everybody does that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'd entertain a motion from the board.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Fowler.
I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen reinstate Antonio Albata to the position of police officer with the town of Middleborough, effective immediately.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the on the agenda is we want to entertain a motion to hold our special annual town meeting on Monday, October 7th, 2013, 7 p.m. at the Middleborough High School.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Charlie?
Typical, we usually do it the first week of October. So this has been our standard procedure the last several years.
Okay. You think everything is going to be ready for that?
Please so.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Now, I would entertain a vote to close the warrant. Deadline for the submissions of the articles by 12 noon on Friday, August 30th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? That's fairly self-explanatory. All of the department heads are aware of this?
I already notified them that that was what I was going to recommend, so yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
through you to Charlie. Charlie, could we just get that on the town website?
We will do that as well.
Beautiful.
You'll also get the special town meeting date on the website.
We will.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is to sign a purchase and sales agreement with Bartelli Brothers for a vacant parcel of land off of Plymouth Street, Middleborough. This is from the Water Department?
This is something we've been working on. This is a new well site that we've been working on for a number of years. It's called the Mazaris well, and we found we needed additional land around the area we currently own to maximize the yield of the well. And when you move the wellhead, your ring of protection changes, and you have to be able to protect your wellhead. So in order to get the most yield out of this well, we needed to acquire some more land for protection, and we negotiated this price with the Middleborough brothers for about 4¼ acres of land, which is in keeping with the amounts we offer to people for this type of land transaction.
Okay, now you said remove the wellhead. This is the well that's right near the railroad tracks? Or?
No, different one. This is off Plymouth Street. You're thinking of Cross Street. You're thinking of the other one we're working on.
Okay. All right. So what's the cost on this?
It's $107,000.
Okay, Town Council has reviewed this purchase and sales agreement?
He has.
And he's in accordance, he agrees with this?
He has. We spent enormous amount of time on these well transactions. This one, luckily, is relatively simple. This is one owner. The other one we're working on, I think, has 4 different owners that we're trying to bring all together at the same time to complete that.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just have a quick question. It's dated May 7th. Is that, it's all right for us to sign it today? When did the seller sign it?
He just signed it recently, actually.
Okay, should that date stay May 7th?
Dan, what do you think? Is there any problem?
No problem with
Okay.
One of the quickest legal opinions you've got. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion from the board.
So moved.
Second.
Would be a motion to sign the purchase and sales
All right, I'll
agreement?
make a motion to where is it? To sign the purchase and sales agreement with Bertarelli Brothers for a vacant parcel of land off Plymouth Street, Middleborough, Mass.
Okay, thank you. And we have a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, the ayes have it. Now we're going to get rid of 2 old police cruisers or chiefs? Cruisers, okay. Police cruisers, okay. We have, the next item is to declare 2 old police cruisers as surplus property, and that's an unmarked 2001 Crown Vic and a marked 2006 Crown Vic. One has age, mileage, poor overall condition, and engine manifold exhaust issues along with rusting and general deterioration. So we're going to take this motion will take these off the books, and then we'll what, scrap them?
Yeah, these are just going to scrap.
All right, so we'll make sure we get them off the books so we don't pay insurance on them or anything?
Right.
Any comments or questions from my board members? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Crowley.
Make a motion to declare 2 old police cruisers as surplus property as presented.
Second.
We have a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Now we have a motion here. We need a motion to pay the MMC, Mass Municipal Association, dues, which is $2,710. What account does this come out of, Charlie?
There's a line item in your budget for this.
Okay. Have they raised their rates recently, or is that the same?
I'm not sure. Jackie, does that number look familiar to you, or is that different? Or?
It looks familiar.
Okay, well, we have a familiar number of $2,710. We do get a lot of services from MMA. allows also, the board members can get involved with the State House News Service through your MMA membership, so you get the up-to-date information as to what they're taking from us in Boston. Okay, I will entertain a motion to pay this bill.
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second to pay the $2,710 dues for MMA. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Now we have a motion, we're going to entertain a motion. We have a grant to sign for an emergency communication, sign a grant contract for emergency communications, but am I missing this in here?
All I gave you is the, I didn't give you the contract, but I gave you the authorization form that you have to sign, Mr. Chairman, plus the state, or this particular grant, wants your signature notarized, so that Jackie would have to notarize it.
This is the $53,000?
This is the $53,000 grant for, this is our annual PSAP grant that we get from the state, from the E911 board, that helps support our communication center, our dispatch center.
So this is money
it's-
coming to us, but I
Right.
have to sign it, and Jackie has to witness my
Yeah,
signature.
actually, I signed the grant, but you attest to my signature, but they want your signature attested to, too. It's wondered that they don't want our firstborns presented to them as well, but, you know.
Okay.
The reason this is before you is that I think you authorized the chairman and I to sign these state grants up to $50,000, but this happens to be 53, so
I would
I
entertain
needed
it.
your attention.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board members? I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager and I to re-sign, sign, and re-sign, and get witnessed. Pray to God that it works, to get this $53,000 from the state for our E911 communication center.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. And now we have the yearly audit for MLB, Certified Public Accountants.
Mr. Chairman, this is our, this is a letter that we sign every year. This is the first year they've also asked the chairman of the board to sign it. So if it doesn't look familiar to you, that's why.
Okay.
So basically, it's the audit engagement
This is for our
letter.
auditors
Yeah.
that are going to come in and check the books of the town like they
Right.
don't do in the state.
Yeah, they define the terms of the audit in this letter, and we agree to it.
Okay. Okay, I would entertain a motion to authorize me to sign this.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? As long as I don't get the bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Now, go into hearings. First item on the agenda is Andrew Danforth, Director of New England Resident-Owned Communities Program, concerning this pending sale of Hillcrest and other mobile homes. Or is that mobile home parks?
Parks.
All right. Now, this is to discuss changing our rent control regulations.
Correct.
To reflect what's necessary for the ROC to be able to loan money.
Yeah, that's correct.
Am I hitting this pretty close? Okay. Would you like to go ahead and address this?
Sure, sure. I actually have probably too long of a speech, but following a rabbit, I had to come up with something. That's the first time I've ever followed an animal. Anyway, My name's Andrew Danforth, and I'm the director of the resident-owned communities program at the Cooperative Development Institute, and we work in all of the New Hampshire states, all of the New England states but New Hampshire, and we help residents buy their communities. We have been doing this about 3 years. We follow a 30-year history of this in New Hampshire by precedent. There are 105 cooperatives. There might be more. Could be corrected. In New Hampshire, they've been formed over the last 30 years, and they've all thrived without actually a single loan default. Rock USA, and I have several members of Rock USA's staff here with me if you have any questions, basically was formed to take that to a national scale. CDI is basically a local outreach group for them. In the last 33 months, we've converted 10 communities and funded over $45 million worth of purchase and correction and rehabilitation money in parks in New England. 2 of these parks were in Carver, one's in Plymouth. In total, we serve over 1,300 families. Now, I'm here tonight for a single reason, which is the potential changing of the rent control regulations in the town. You may have other questions. I know that Edgeway is seemingly a month-to-month or week-to-week endeavor for you folks, and we hope at some point it won't be. But right now, I'd like to talk about that. Now, rent control was put in place to control landlords that took advantage of people that own homes on their land. These homes aren't that mobile, so when people raised rent, it became very difficult to pay, and they have no real choice but to pay it. So hence you folks and a good dozen other communities have rent control. Rent control is made basically, it involves a fair profit for owners. A cooperative made of residents does not need a fair profit. It only needs to pay its bills and provide for reserves to fix and replace things. So when we looked at your ordinance, or actually the rules and regulations, it talks about fair net operating income. That's the profit an owner would need. So we need to change that. Now, we faced this before. We faced this in North Adams, and we actually have a member of the North Adams Cooperative, luckily here, which surprised me, last winter. And their rent control board had the same issue. And they changed, pretty much on the fly, their process and their forms to basically take that profit out and insert debt service costs and reserves. And that's what we're seeking here. We're seeking a very limited change to rent control that would only affect resident-owned communities. Working with your attorney, the town's attorney, we came up with basically 2 changes that we're requesting. One is to define a resident-owned park as a mobile home park that's owned by a corporation or association where the shareholders or members are individuals owning homes in the park, and where over 51% of the owners of homes are shareholders or members. Okay? Number 2, to redefine fair net operating income with respect to resident-owned communities, such that shall be that income which would enable the owner of the park to pay or provide with respect to the park all operating expenses, capital expenses, contractual debt service, and contractually mandated or shareholder member approved reserves for capital expenses and operating expenses. What that means basically is instead of that profit, they can pay their mortgage and they can put money aside if they've decided to. If your prior owners had put money aside for reserves, obviously we wouldn't have the issues we have with the communities, and that's why we make the cooperatives do that. Now, there's 2 reasons to do this, 2 reasons we have to do this. One is that Rock Capital, and we do have a representative from Rock Capital here, doesn't see a way to finance these communities the way the rent control was written now. There's no assurance to them that fair net operating income would be the same as what the residents' mortgage and reserves are. Fair net operating income is something that's market-driven and not driven by the actual incurred expenses of the community. And second, because resident owners really should have some leeway in how they spend their own money. They pay their rent to their cooperative. They decide how to spend it every year in a democratic process. Rent control will still be there to oversee that. but they should have some leeway in how they spend their own money. Now, Hillcrest is already in agreement to purchase that community. We're already that far. Edgeway, with their fine attorney and magician present, will probably be in a P&S by the end of the week. It has to be in P&S by the end of the week. They are taking their right of first refusal under Massachusetts law to buy their community. So is not your issue, but so is Twin Coach on the other side of the fence. Both resident associations have passed unanimous board resolutions in favor of these changes. And we're here today to ask you for those changes as quickly as possible. Hillcrest will be in financing phase. We will basically be seeking financing within the next 20 days or so. So we would need those changes to come about as soon as possible. That cutting out every other word is my presentation. What can I answer in general for you folks?
Well, first of all, I'm leery of changing myself. I'm leery of changing a bylaw or a regulation to suit a group, any group. Because if I do that for you, then I wonder what happens when the other people come up and say, well, you've allowed a change for them, how come we can't have a change? I don't know what that change might be, but when we start tinkering with these things, are we running into a slippery slope of a change that could wind up hurting people down the road? I can't imagine what it would be, but I don't want to. Well, myself, I'm very leery of setting these precedents. When we have a regulation that was reviewed, found to be a good regulation.
Up until now.
What?
Up until now.
Well,
but in a year,
it could be the other guy coming up saying, well, this is wrong for us.
Regulations aren't set in stone, are they? Aren't they living, breathing things? Didn't we enact this because it was a problem? Now we have another problem, which you have two groups here that will not take ownership of their community if rent control cannot be made to sustain that. And we will have, you'll continue having, out-of-state owners and deferred maintenance and those issues that we don't have in our communities.
On item M that you want to change.
Yes.
Fair net operating income.
Right.
From the regulation, fair net operating income for a mobile home park shall be the income which will yield, at the discretion of the board,
Right.
a reasonable return to the owner of the mobile home park after all reasonable operating expenses. Doesn't that really give the board the latitude of being able to say?
It also gives the board the latitude to say reasonable isn't enough to cover your mortgage or to cover your reserves. That's why we ask for this to be expanded.
Wouldn't you want a separate set of eyes on it, though, just to make sure that?
Excuse me?
Wouldn't you want a separate set of eyes
well,
on this?
This does not exempt. There would still, every rent change would still have to be a petition. There is a separate set of eyes. We're not asking for it to leave rent control. That would take an act of the legislature, I would guess, and town meeting. We're looking to say this is different. This is different. This requires a different accounting. And these folks, it's a self-determination. They're going forward, into this as a group. They should be able to set their own. They should be able to set their own budget. They will still have the rent control board. But just like you set your budget in your home without anybody else, or if you live in a condominium, your group sets it without regard to anybody else. We're not asking for exemption. We're asking for a different definition so that when we come and we say, instead of net operating income, here's our mortgage. Here's the reserves that our lenders and our engineers say we should put aside. And again, I think you wish that Morgan Management or some of the or the other owner had put aside those reserves. that an engineer would have told them. This is a better system.
My board members?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Noel?
The two paragraphs, N and M, seem fairly general, but then we have a second letter from Rock, which has, in particular, we support the inclusion of the following calculation. That seems much more detailed.
Right, well, Rock as a lender will ask for things, this is all kind of a negotiation. I don't think, and Rock can speak for themselves, but I don't think they as a whole should be coming to you with a calculation. And that calculation is what the residents accept and should bring to you through the process. We are looking for this general change in the rent control to give the flexibility, but not to tie down to a calculation. Rock as a whole would rather not have rent control. That's what I'm not here for that. That's not the discussion of today. Okay, we don't believe that, we believe that cooperatives have lower costs and that will come through in the end and we won't need rent control. But that's not the discussion for today. So we're just looking for these two definitions. The same as what we had in North Adams and same as what we'll carry to the next 2 or 3 towns that are on the list. Yes, sir?
Mr. Noel, you all set?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. You said that these proposed changes, you ran them by Dan. Dan's okay with them?
Yes.
Dan Martin, Town Council?
Yes.
And we need to, in order to allow the residents of these 2 parks, or any park in the town of Middleborough, to get together and enact their, or exercise their right of first refusal, these have to be in place.
For us to finance it, we're the only ones to finance these communities.
So in order to give the residents the opportunity to purchase their parks, these have to be in
That's
place.
correct.
With this entity, yes, through
this
that
entity.
entity.
Well, it's 100,
That the entity back there?
it is the entity back there. Actually, it's not the entity back there.
That's close enough.
But you have to understand, this is a particular program with 100% financing with no individual borrowing. The cooperatives in the past, you would have to go out and borrow on your own home. We have a unique program, 30 years of experience with other default on it. Only the association borrows those funds. No personal borrowing, $100 investment. Low equity, fully democratic, members can join at any time. Non-members stay forever if they want. It's unique. So there isn't anybody else.
And the reason we have to pass these is because there is not a resident-owned mobile home park in the town of Middleborough at this time.
That is correct.
All right.
And I'll get to the third one eventually. But I'll need this to get to them too.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I don't know whether this question should go to you or perhaps to Town Council. We have other mobile home parks in the town. Changing this in this language, changing it, is that going to affect parks that are not resident-owned
No.
in any way?
No. Dan and I met with Mr. Danforth, I think a month or so ago, to go over this proposal of theirs. And, it's similar to when we drafted the original regulations. They had to be broad enough to encompass Hillcrest and Edgeway and Oak Point. So, and the reason our regulations are a little different than most is that, we had to accommodate Oak Point. I see it the same way. Now we have have potential entities that are resident-owned. We didn't contemplate that when we drafted the original regulations. Certainly, there's no reason not to broaden the regulations out to allow for that, but it has no impact on anybody else. It's just it's adding to your regulations. It's not taking anything away from them. Everything you've had, you'll continue to have. You'll just have a new variation on them. That's all.
I have another quick question. You have a couple entities here. You have the resident owners, which is an association.
Correct.
You're going to have ROC, which is the entity that's financing it
Correct.
and managing it?
No.
Okay.
The process is that ROC USA finances it through a capital arm. They provide overall a system. That New Hampshire system that the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund has used for 30 years, they've expanded to nationwide. they provide a system, a backbone. CDI, which is the 501c3 that I work for, which is a 20-year-old Massachusetts nonprofit, public charity, will be permanently technical advisor to both associations as long as they have their mortgage.
Okay, so who calculates when an owner, a private owner, owns a park? They come to us and say, listen, these are my expenses, I can't cover them, I need a rent increase. Who's going to calculate that?
Ultimately, it's the residents are the owners, so ultimately, it's the resident board working with CDI and with their property manager. They're required to have a property manager. And we will come to the board like any other group that does today.
Okay.
So, there won't be any failing in that part.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's very, the system itself is very, very robust. It has a lot of years behind it, and a lot of, I mean, if you think 150 co-ops now, 30-plus years, okay? Budgets every year, reporting every quarter on financials, actually every month. I have 7 employees now. I started myself on this 36 months ago. We monitor our parks almost on a daily, weekly basis.
That's good to hear.
People aren't born knowing how to run a community.
No, that's why I'm asking who's going to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But ultimately, the residents end up taking ownership of it. And literally, I mean ownership being ownership. They may not know, but eventually they'll know what to do better than we will.
Yep. Just so, and when we finish up here, I just wanted to recognize Jesse Martinez, who is the president of the Massachusetts Federation of Manufacturing Housing, is here at the end of our comments. He may be able to clarify any other questions we have. He's dealt with this quite a bit as well.
And actually, Jesse is an officer of a cooperative.
Okay, look at that.
I'd love for him to speak if you wanted to.
Mr. Quello, do you have anything?
A couple of questions. First of all, thank you for coming tonight. It's always nice to have, individuals come and talk to us because, I know that when I started this adventure, it was really a learn as I go thing. I wasn't prepared for it. I thought being rent control was just an additional duty, and to my surprise, that was and, we certainly have gotten a lot more help from individuals like yourself than we have state agencies. We almost had to drag them kicking and screaming into this. First of all, I support this, okay, but I think sometimes it's important for somebody like myself to play a little devil's advocate just to make sure we get it all out there. Can you talk to me, as it relates to sort of a requirement in order to have true democracy going on here, the 51%, talk to me about the 49% who opt out.
Well, I will say, first off, I don't have, in any of my cooperatives, and we actually deal with about 30 different groups around New England. There are pre-existing cooperatives as well, and groups in transition like this. And nobody's 51-49. It gets, at closing it's 60, 67. The vote for these were almost unanimous amongst, the members of the community. But they, the minority can stay. They can join any time. Okay, they don't have a vote. They're the equivalent of an illegal alien in a way. They don't have a vote. They have the ability to live in the community. They have every right a tenant would have. They have every right they'd have today. For $100, they become a member at any time. They share in the surpluses. They can vote at that point. So it's open membership.
So basically, those who don't join, their advocate becomes the rent control board solely.
It does.
It puts them
housing board and what have you. They still have the same rights all of us do in the Commonwealth.
Well, they'll probably find us before housing court, but
yeah.
There are, certainly when we were going down this road, there were two sides of the aisle here, and I'm sure you've gotten the history here. But, and again, like I said, I'm only throwing these questions at you because I think it's important for us not to avoid any slippery slopes.
Right.
I'm certainly willing to hear from the mortgage company, okay, but that is a party that stands financial gain from any decision we may or may not make tonight, okay, and that hasn't escaped me.
That's true. But they are another, just so you know, they're another 501c3.
There's money involved here.
There is money involved. I'm not saying that there isn't money involved. I'm just saying that they are another charity.
Okay. And that needs to be important as we sit here as the rent board. I mean, like I say, we've been down this with the tenants. We you know, I'm not saying we feel all their pain, but we felt some of it, but we have to, and the rent board, and I said this to the attorney that was representing the owner-operator prior to the courts getting involved and turning control over to another attorney, that I got the feeling like he was trying to get me to go a certain direction so that he could set up a sale. And I said, look, you know, I'm not debating that their situation may vastly improve with a different owner. I'm just saying that's not why I'm sitting here to try, and I kind of get the same feeling here. Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I support this, but I think this needs to be brought out here, that it seems like you're trying to push me into the direction of a financial business transaction, which again is not why I sit here as a renter.
That's true.
Okay. And their situation, even as tenants in their rent, could improve for them, which I hope it does, but it doesn't alleviate the fact that the decisions I make today could financially improve them. I also have to remember that there is an individual who's looking to purchase this park who's not a tenant. And this situation will improve their chances and their, you know, right of first refusal. So, you know, those are the things I have to weigh. As much as my heart wants to go towards them, and I know what they've been through, I want everything to be fine for them. You know, we can't necessarily do this, because I think that may have been what the chairman was touching on here. You know, there's reasons we sit here, and there's reasons we want to sit here, and they're different, all right? So, my understanding then, if you're not a member of this association, you strictly own your home.
Yes, but that's their choice.
That's their choice. And if you're a member of the association, you own your home to a degree and the land under it.
Actually, no, the cooperative will own all the land.
The cooperative will. But you're part owner of your land.
You're part owner.
Of the land, okay.
But you can live in your home for the rest of your life and never join, and no one will ever harass you. I have people that do that.
And the real nut for them here is they don't have to worry about siphoning off portions of their rent to go pay for somebody who's probably not even going to be in the office in the first place, at best. You know, and they can still decide what level of maintenance they decide they want to pay for to maintain a certain, and even if they do want to hire an actual office manager who may actually be there and answer phones, that's something they can do.
Yes.
But they don't have to worry about some owner-operator, you know, sort of absentee landlord using, okay.
That's why we're here.
Okay.
Because they, you know, they will have the ability, they have self-destiny.
And this democratic process, let's just take the 51% that has to be there. I mean, it's, what is it, like majority vote? I mean, if something doesn't go through unless, two-thirds, majority, what is it?
Majority, except for maybe some of the bylaw type of votes might be two-thirds by statute. But other than that, it's 51-49. It's, you know, when we pass a budget, you get in a room and you pass a budget, it's just like a town meeting on a small level. Okay. You know, the board has very little, you know, there's a board that has to deal with the day-to-day, the month-to-month, but they're limited as to how much they can spend that's not in the budget, the same way you folks probably are, and that type of thing. So it's a representative democracy, much like this, with an annual meeting, or several annual meetings, the ability to oust people, the ability to oust vendors, the ability to change budgets. Okay. It's a microcosm of our democracy. It's not perfect, but then again, you guys work in democracy, and you know that. But
Is he saying we're not perfect?
I'm not saying you're not perfect. I'm saying this process our forefathers found was interesting. Interesting, as Roger Williams put it, but not perfect. And our cooperatives aren't. It's easier sometimes to have a great owner. You know, if you're the rent control board, to have a great owner because you have one person to deal with. But ultimately, this is what saves them money in the long run. This is what makes their homes more valuable and their property kept up. Both these properties have huge deferred maintenance. I mean, really huge deferred maintenance. You know that.
Wow. Yeah. I do. It's the maintenance is one of the issues. I mean, with Hillcrest, I noticed a lot of lack in maintenance, and to some degree, Edgeway, you know, had a couple of guys that were there from time to time, but it was really one of the biggest problems. Okay. No, well, again, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Tonight. I enjoyed meeting you.
Anything else?
Anything else? You want to speak to anybody else?
Well, I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Of all of the parks where you have this program going on, have any of them dropped below 50% or 51%?
Never.
No?
We've never had that.
What would happen if they did? What would happen if it went to?
Hey, if that happened, if you think about it, they would be completely in rent control. It doesn't
Then we have a problem, don't we? Haven't we created a problem then?
Well, how does it ever drop? Well, for one thing, anybody coming into the community generally becomes a member. Okay, they go through that process, they pay the $100, it's part of the entrance process. They can take part or not take part. So we'll never see a community under 51%. If they did, the other half, the rent control rule would cover them, wouldn't it? They'd still have to go through rent control and everything like that.
But if they drop down below 51%, he could pull his note and slap a lien.
No, it's not callable based upon that. It's a commercial loan with terms and everything like that. It has financial regulations, you have to have a balanced budget, you have to have reserves, you have to this. It doesn't at all say that it has to be 51%. It has to be to start with.
But I thought that could have been, well, I don't know if it will or won't, but if it is a term set forth by the lender.
That would be a very difficult, it is not a term set forth by the lender.
Okay.
You can speak to the lender.
All right.
It is to start with. You have to have a majority to start with, or else we don't have a cooperative. But there's nothing that says that has to be maintained. After that, it's only financial. There can't be changes to structure. We can't uncooperate. I mean, then he'd want his money back. But if it was under 51%, there's no particular one.
If it goes under 51%, wouldn't it be uncooperative?
It would be terribly uncooperative. I have cooperatives that are 90% that are terribly uncooperative.
I just have a vision of a guy in a blue shirt coming up saying, hey, we got a big problem here, and you guys created it. And I don't.
Well, unfortunately, they're not going to come to you.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come to me. Okay, because that's my job, is to create them. I think Adam's going to point out something.
Mr. Frawley?
Before you step away, Mr. Danforth, I just have a quick question.
Okay.
If we pass these laws, it's still up to the parks to take a vote and pass this, right? We're just changing our bylaws. We're not forcing anything on anybody. We're just giving people an option that if they decide to move forward, they can, if they so choose to.
That's correct.
We're not telling anybody they have to do anything. We're just giving them an option.
And I don't know. They still have to go through a democratic process of you have to be recognized. But, they have to go through a process of recruitment first. And both communities have not done, one's in the middle and one's at the beginning. The rent has to work. It has to work. That's democracy.
On behalf of Edgewood, whom I represent, I've worked with Andy on this information. I agree with you. When you start tinkering with stuff, you get a little nervous. I think that we're not tinkering with what's there. What's there is there. What we're doing is, you're in an apple orchard and we're just adding a new type of apple. That's essentially what it is. We don't have anything to cover cooperatives. The beauty of this for the tenants is that when they're under a landlord or a different entity that's not a cooperative, what figures into their rent is some portion profit margin. When they own on their own, which is what they're shooting for, if the numbers work out, we haven't seen all the numbers yet. What they're shooting for is to basically be able to maintain and have a cushion. There's not a profit margin built in there, so by definition, it's going to be less expensive. They don't have to make a profit. They need to meet their carry plus whatever they vote on for surplus. In New York City, I moved into a cooperative, and it was run by an actress, a flower salesman, a couple of out-of-work people, and somebody else, and they ran the cooperative wonderfully. None of them had any legal knowledge whatsoever. And they ran a beautiful cooperative. So these people are able to do it because according to the terms and conditions as to what's going on, they have to, basically ROC is also, through these people, providing them, as he said, a structure they're going to have to follow. It's like a franchise. They've got a system. They put these people who want to be in it into the system. Right now, in order for these people to have the option to control their destiny. Because where we are, just so you understand, this park, and I'll only speak of this park for a moment, this park has voted to essentially go out and see the cards. In other words, we've gone out, we said we want our right of first refusal. He then comes in with his engineers and all his other people, They come in and they scour the place. They go through it, top to bottom. They crunch their numbers with their bean counters. They come back and they say, this is what's got to be done. This is what you need for a reserve. This is what your rent is predicted to be. Do you want to do it? And I've simplified it. But do you want to do it? We're not at the do you want to do it phase yet. And in order to get there, we need to have something that if the co-op actually, if this town gives birth to a co-op, we need to have something to deal with a co-op, which we don't currently have. The entity we have right now is landlord, tenant. You don't have anything. I'd be coming in with a blue shirt saying, I'm not sure that calculation works because we've got a co-op here. We're only looking for maintenance and a little bit of surplus. And we don't have that law. That's all he's asking for you to do. I understand your point on the financing. This is all, that everything follow the money. I understand that. At the moment, we're not there, and these people will decide, ultimately, the majority of the park will either decide, once he crunches the numbers and says, this is what your loan amount's going to be, and this is what you've got to use it for, and this is how much surplus you have, and that translates into this rent. These people either go running and screaming into the hills, or they'll say, hey, I like it, but if you have the co-op stuff on the record, if you don't have a co-op in town, it doesn't apply. You're done. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. With the board's permission, may I ask Mr. Murray to step up? Now, Dan, you've heard some of the discussion tonight. You've heard some of my concerns. I'm only one person, but I'm always concerned about changing regulations, adding to because of an entity wants to do something different. So, in your opinion, protecting the town, changing these regulations aren't going to impact the town badly?
Mr. Chairman, board members, my view is that this regulation will not adversely affect the rent control statute and the overall rent control process.
Okay. All right. Any questions of Mr. Murray from the board members? Okay. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think what we need at least is an indication of the board if there, well, I think perhaps the board could vote to move forward to modify our rent control regulations based on this proposal, and then we'd get started on it right away, because I think from what I heard from Mr. Danforth, they'll be needing to come before you pretty quickly to request a rent increase, and so that's what I would recommend.
I would ask for just a little bit of leeway here. I want to, we have two parks that could be involved. I believe we've heard from one park. Is this Mr. Bond, would you say that's a summary of what you would be able to say about moving this forward if the board decides?
Yes, I think I've summarized it.
Thank you.
I could go longer if you like.
No, I was saying, geez, don't open that door, Steve, it's a bad thing. But we have another park. Is there any member of the membership or leadership of the other park that would like to speak? I just feel it's better to get both sides out.
John Cormier, 20 Lisa Drive, President of the Hillcrest Mobile Home Park Tenants Association. Frank Cuddy.
Board member?
We had a meeting the other night for the resolution for this particular item here. Whereas the residents of Hillcrest Mobile Home Park have noted overwhelmingly to invoke the right to first refusal and potentially purchase the community from its owners to run as a democratic, resident-owned, nonprofit cooperative. And whereas financing of the purchase may hinge upon changes in rent control application that would recognize the unique needs of resident ownership, the Board of Hillcrest Residents Association hereby resolves the following. It supports the proposed changes to the rent control rules as they would pertain to resident-owned parks. It urges the Board of Selectmen in their role as rent control board to approve and expedite the application of these changes with time being of the essence in our transaction, so voted by the board by a vote of 9-0. Now, I got something else I'd like to say. Your question, Mr. Chairman, about changing rules and regulations, we're only looking for two. We have all kinds of we're going to be a nonprofit organization. We have churches, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Elks, Oaks, they all have different little areas where the rules are different than for a business or a profitable organization. This is, to me, is basically the same thing. You're just changing two little articles in your line item to whatever the, to make it different to the owner-owned parks. And I don't see how it would affect anybody or anything. Plus, if we and Edgeway both own our parks, it takes 2 headaches off of your table.
See, that breaks my heart. Okay.
Frank, I'm a board member, and I've been up here many times over the years. And I've seen a number of boards over the past 20 years I've lived here. Also, for at least 30 years with the current owner and the last owner, we've seen little to no capital improvement in that park. And what we have seen has been slipshod at best. This is an opportunity for immediate repairs to infrastructure that needs to be done, because we will be financed for it. It will be mandated through our financing that those repairs be done. We're not going to wait for some outside owner to come in and say, okay, fine, we need a $30 increase, a $150 increase, and then they promise you arpege and we get, what we've gotten. And I won't say what that is. But over the years, we've seen it time and time again. We've been in front of the board. We see numerous people come in, stand in front of you and say, I'll get back to you on that because I don't know what the hell they gave you. Because they gave you figures that are fictitious or anything else. We will have, according to what we're understanding, a management company that will run our finances. We will oversee that as our own board. We will have a yearly report. Whatever comes to you would come to you clearly, cleanly, and concisely. Not with all of the magician and magical works that they did with tons and tons of people. So I think in the long run, not only is it going to be beneficial for the residents, beneficial for the town, but for 2 minor changes, which only is an addition accommodated, I think this is what we need to pass through. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all your past history.
Thank you. Okay, so, pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the proposed modifications to the rent control bylaw as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Oh, Mr. Chair, just want to clear the air here. I just want to say to every tenant in this town, you were never, ever a headache. You were citizens standing up for yourselves. The owner-operators are in a different category, but I'm sure I speak for the board. We never regard you as a headache, okay? I know it's been a long, tough road, but...
I second that.
There you go. Oh, no.
I can see it now. In the morning. Adam, you busy?
Hey, can we pass the motion before we celebrate?
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Plum? That's it. That's it? Any other board member have any comment? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Yeah, okay, be careful what you ask for.
Take a 5-minute recess.
Go ahead and take a 5-minute recess, please.
I'll get those signs from you. I need to get the name of your boss too, the owner, because I want to talk to him. You're still working at
On occasion.
See ya.
Oh, good.
Well, I think it's just positive attrition, probably take to see what you Over 30 years, in order to provide a workout, average percent. Well, in this situation, it's
Five minutes is up. Okay, excuse me, gonna get back to meeting here. Ben?
nice meeting you.
Okay, reconvene the meeting. Jackie informed me that we have to schedule now a hearing to discuss the changes, an official hearing. Now, how many weeks?
To make those changes, right? To the regulations.
Okay, so, how many weeks do we have to advertise?
Look it up.
I don't think we have to schedule anything tonight. We'll just...
Well, they need it done ASAP.
Right.
But we have certain requirements we have to follow within the regulations in terms of that. So we'll schedule it at the earliest possible time. So I don't think it's 2 weeks, I think it's a month, honestly.
Okay.
So I think it's the end of August probably.
This is going to be a fairly simple thing. I mean...
Yeah. However, there are some other changes that we made a year or so ago based on the attorney's recommendations, and we didn't follow the process through to the end, so we actually have to bring those back.
She did, she's going.
I'm sorry. There are other changes we have?
Yeah, the changes Attorney Towerman recommended to us that we thought we had implemented, we didn't. We found out later that we missed one step, so we have to go back and do those. So it'll be a combination of this and those just to clean everything up.
All right.
Okay.
I'd like to schedule that as soon as we can.
We are going to, yeah, I just can't guarantee you when it would be. We're going to have to look at the, the process and make sure we follow it.
Then do you need a motion to proceed with the hearings?
No, what you did tonight is fine.
All right.
We'll do it with all haste.
All right. Now, we have a tobacco violation hearing and one food code violation hearing scheduled for 7:50. There, more or less. So, Ms. Spalding, you are a health agent. Would you mind informing us of what happened here?
As the board may remember, we are part of the Cape Cod Tobacco Control Group. They service our area. as part of their grant application that we were included with them, and they come through and do some of our education to our vendors, as well as doing our compliance checks, not only for signage, but also for sale to minors, in compliance with the regulation that you had passed last year. So in this recent round of compliance checks that was conducted for all of our facilities in June, mid-June, 6/23, this time we did have 5 businesses that sold to minors. Sunoco Station on South Main Street, Middleborough Shell at 63 Bedford Street, Gateway Convenience Store at 578 Wareham Street, Cumberland Farm Store 2292 at 87 East Grove Street, and the Super Petroleum at 381 West Grove Street. Of these businesses, there is actually 2, but one of them had changed hands, so it did not fall within that. None of them fell within the 3-year time range as we have in the code. But one of them has been consistently owned by the same business and was also cited in the previous 3 years, which is why my recommendation differed for that business. So I don't know if
Which business was that?
that was, recommendations. It's in the recommendation section. That,
Okay.
Super Petroleum.
Super Petroleum.
Super Petroleum, okay, so that was within the 3-year window?
That was just beyond the 3-year window.
Just beyond the
but they
3-year
had-
window.
They had also sold in the previous 3-year timeframe, whereas that is not the case with the other businesses.
All right, so then we're going to have a hearing on each of these issues, starting with the Shell, owned by Amjad Chandler? Is Amjad here?
Yes.
Okay. Would you come right up? Apparently on 6/23/13 at approximately 3 p.m. during a routine compliance check to enforce the town of Middleborough's Board of Health rules and regulations relative to safe sale, vending, and distribution of tobacco within the town of Middleborough, an employee of Shell sold tobacco to a minor. This is your first violation. What do you have to say about this?
It's not our policy to sell underage or minors.
Okay.
My help is fully trained. This particular person didn't bother to check the ID. She's also trained. Recently, I went to the classes and my help as well. We did before this violation to learn how to sell tobacco.
These are 2 notices were just handed to me. Ahmed and Anawat Chandra were certified. Those for us or for you? Those are your copies?
You can take the copies or you can have it. I can have the other copy.
Do you have copies of those, Jane, by any chance? The certification notices? No? Okay. Make copies.
Mr. Chair, what's the date on those certification notices? Please.
It's only dated when they expire, which is May 22nd, 2016.
All right.
And they're handwritten
I did that
on business cards.
a month earlier prior to the violation. It's in my best interest of the community, best interest of the kids. I have my own 4 kids. It's not the intention or in any way to make a dollar out of the kids and make the society and myself look bad. We also changed the software of the computer. When somebody approaches to buy a pack of cigarettes, they have to punch in the date of birth in order to make a sale. On top of that, I'm sending my help again to do the intervention program to learn more about it and not do it alone. I want to comply with the town rules and regulations and the state rules and regulations. I've been there 11 years and I want to keep the place safe according to the laws of the town and the state. And I will comply with whatever the town suggests. On top of that, I'm doing my best to keep up my health up to date. It makes me look bad. It makes my place look bad. It's costly. I'm very embarrassed to be here. And I will try my best and whatever or everything I can do not to make it happen and keep the society and the local town look good.
So you have sent everybody for retraining for cigarette sales?
There's only 2 people left which we're sending for the retraining.
And you have instituted a computer program on your cash register that
Yes.
a specific date has to be
Punched in
order
to sell the pack.
Gene, other recommendations do you have? Do you have any, you said that in English, do you have any other recommendations?
Regarding the compliance checks?
Regarding maybe retraining policies or procedures or programs they could institute?
Well, my problem is taking the training and putting it in the programs is great, but if they don't do the compliance checks. And considering this is also the business that we have had constantly response on food service. And when I myself get in the business and try to get some information off the personnel about what's at the register, who's extremely non-responsive and basically, even with my business card, indicating who I was, and while I was there, I really identified myself with why I was there. And seemed to be having a language issue right up until the time the sales came through and language barrier seemed to disappear. I had called the emergency contact numbers. I had called the owner's numbers. I had called both owners' numbers on numerous occasions, as well as Ms. Gardner, who is the inspector. We sent a letter of order. We still have, to this day, not received a response from them. So I appreciate the gentleman's pleadings that they are embarrassed and making efforts here. But that has not been our experience with this business operator. And remind you that this has gone on since May 6th that we've been trying to get compliance.
And please ask which compliance you are asking.
Regarding the food service operations and the refrigeration units not being up to code and having to dispose of the property and then going in there the next day and finding the food product was still there. Eventually, the food service unit was repaired, but the food product was still there and we were told to remove it. And when we requested on numerous occasions for invoices for the replacement product, we are still awaiting for it.
Okay,
And we never
well,
received it.
that's, so that's the, we haven't touched on the hearing yet.
Correct.
what we're talking about now is the cigarettes.
Correct.
May I, sir, please answer the
Only relative to the cigarettes, because that's a separate hearing. So we have to, she got a little ahead of ourselves. So we're now talking just about the cigarettes. So you intend on retraining 2 people? There's only two other people that work here?
Yes.
And you intend on installing this?
Software.
So it's already been installed?
Yes.
Okay, everybody knows how to use it?
Yes.
Okay. And that's, you feel, you confident that that can resolve the issue?
If a person has sliced a tiny shred of conscious, he will check the ID and punch it in. Because it's right there, the sale won't go forward unless they punch it in.
And you don't see that that's a vulnerable situation too?
I think I'm myself trained, I've been 11 years there, never had a violations. I train people to do the job the right way that serves them, it serves me, serves the community. Had no intentions whatsoever to be a bad guy in the community and never been. Some people take it as a responsible person. Some people comes in a disguise and the next thing you know, they have done so bad to the location that takes years to repair it.
I hear you. Board members? Well?
Gene, you call it a compliance check. Can you sort of describe it for us? If I was working a register at one of these convenience stores, what would that look like?
Compliance check is usually conducted by somebody who's underage. They are in the accompaniment of an adult who does not enter the store at the same time. The adult brings the children up to the facilities, the business facilities. They have a routine, a proper procedure that they're all trained in how they conduct this. They go in and they buy with cash. They usually request whatever specific cigarette pack or tobacco product or nicotine delivery product that is being checked for that compliance check. Once they've made the purchase, they do not have any other contact. They go back out to the adult and the report is written up.
How's this minor dressed? As a minor?
They're not in disguise. That's
Okay.
specific that they cannot be disguised. You know, they're not trying to look like 25-year-olds.
Okay. And if, they're trying to wheel and deal themselves into a pack of cigarettes, or they just go up there with a pack of cigarettes, they're charged a price, they slap the money down, they get the change, and they walk out. Let's say they're asked for an ID, do they actually try to, like I say, talk their way into getting the cigarettes without one?
My understanding is that they have a script.
Right.
The script is just to request the tobacco product.
And if they're asked for an ID, they would simply say, I don't have one, and walk out?
Correct.
Okay. I think.
Okay. Any other board member?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Nolan?
I'm frankly really concerned that we're even having these violations after years and years and years of having these displays, ID laws. I mean, we're trying to enforce the law. We're trying to keep cigarettes out of the hands of kids. And I'm really concerned that this is happening. I think this is very troubling.
It's, I think most of the people that sometimes get into this job, they don't look the way the owners or the managers look at their place. They don't have the ability, or they don't get involved to understand that it's the livelihood for the other person which is going to they're going to put in jeopardy by just not checking the ID. Sometimes they take it so light, not knowingly what the damage is going to be by just doing that. Even they understand when you have them in the class or have them in the program to understand how important it is to check the ID and not make a sale to the minor. A person who works on a register has the knowledge and the ability to do a 900 other things, but when it comes to check the ID, it's mind-boggling that they don't understand how easy it is to ask for ID, while the register completely shows you, asks you to check the ID. Even a stupid person will make a sale, the register doesn't move unless you tell the register the person looks or has the ID. And when you do that, that's the only way you can make a sale. So it's in the hands of the clerks that we hire, and having the understanding that this person is up to the task and going to do the job right. But when you look back, the same person is ignoring the same rules and regulations that he signed he will abide by.
Right, but that responsibility comes back to you.
Yeah,
It's not the clerk. You're the person who hired the clerk. You're the person responsible for training that clerk.
I am with you on that. I'm not saying on the end of the line, it's me who is responsible.
Which is why you're here tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Because you questioned why it's going on. That is the reason. The person we hired comes at a $8-9 job, doesn't look at that this is an individual's whole lifetime saving who invested it into a small business to make his livelihood. Sometimes he doesn't look that way. We do, because that's my job, and I make money to feed my kids and keep up with my daily expenses. It's like somebody's job. He doesn't go to do the job, he's not going to get a paycheck. But some people go overboard and not care about it, and because we are on the hook and we have to be here to answer you.
So what can you do about that? These are your employees.
Exactly. I have the register. The minute you scan a pack of cigarettes, the sale will not go through unless you give the register the date of birth. How could you make a sale unless either you're not looking at the person, not asking the ID, just punching in some weird numbers and handing over?
Apparently it happened.
That's exactly what happened, but it's never been the establishment's intentions to make that happen. I tried to go, you can call the intervention program. I just took a class about a month ago prior to this, just to make myself aware and up to date with the new rules and regulations, and say my feet to my employees. I'm not saying I'm not responsible. I'm not saying I'm blaming other people. I'm just trying to answer your question with my little knowledge.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Gene, I think the chairman asked you a little while ago if you thought there was anything else that could be done here to assure that these kind of aberrations don't happen again. Is there anything beyond what the gentleman has proposed that you would recommend?
I don't see any additional steps. Mostly it's education of the employees, and in the electronics with the registers certainly help if it's required of all these sales.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I think there's in Jean's memo, she's recommended to the board how to proceed here. I don't know if you want to entertain that.
Any other board member have anything else?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
I wholeheartedly agree with Mr. Knowlton.
All right. In that case, I'll close this piece of the hearing, and we can now determine what the board's pleasure is.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Fuller.
make a motion that we institute a $100 fine and a suspension of 5 days of all tobacco products.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. $100 fine, 5-day suspension of tobacco sales and tobacco product sales. Any comments or questions? When do you want that 5 days to start? When can we start that?
Need any recommendation on that?
Whatever the board is appropriate.
I think it should span a week then.
Which weekend would you like?
What about next weekend?
This coming weekend?
Sure.
Okay, so it'll start Thursday?
Sure.
Thursday to Tuesday? Is that
Sure.
what it is? Right up to 5? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. So that starts this coming Thursday night.
And they can resume on Tuesday.
They can resume on
Thursday,
Tuesday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or the 5 days.
Okay. You are, it's your house, it's your situation, and your guy did, or your girl did the wrong thing, so you gotta make sure you straighten them out. We don't wanna see you again, well, other than down at the gas station, but we don't wanna see you here.
You know, come here, I have to see you on a daily basis on my shop or somewhere else, but not in this situation.
Okay.
I don't think anybody, you know, in my shoes, you know, like to come here and explain and go through this, what I've been through.
But while you are here, let me open up this next piece of the hearing, because this involves you, I believe. This is a hearing for notification of the Board of Selectmen acting as the Board of Health. Will hold a hearing on Monday, July 29th, 7:55 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, in compliance with the health order dated 6/13, which is relative to food products that I think we were just talking about a few minutes ago, which were out of date, and temperature variances on the machinery.
Right.
Okay. Would you like to address that, Jean, to give us any information I might have missed?
The inspection was conducted May 6th by the inspector, and at that time, the freezer unit was under temp, was the above appropriate temperatures for freezer units. The product was soft to touch, and there was numerous items that were out of date on the shelves. They were requested at the store to dispose of the food items, and the freezer that was not operating properly, they were ordered to dispose of those food items. When the inspector went back 2 days later...
Excuse me, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can we just ask Ms. Spalding to speak directly into the microphone?
Sorry.
Thank you.
When the inspector went back 2 days later, there was signage on the unit, but the food product was still there, would be indicating that they were giving it to the employees, they were holding it for discarded credit, that the unit had only been temporarily out of control. Now, we did get a repair bill, a repair notice on the unit itself. The unit had been repaired, but like I said, the food product in the freezer unit had not been properly discarded. When she did went back and they said, well, we have discarded it now, and she asked for invoices for the new product a number of times, including calling the office and leaving notes at the facility itself. She had not been able to gain any information or get the invoices for the new product that was in the freezer. I called the store and did not get anywhere. I called the owner, both numbers that are on the application form and the emergency numbers, and did not get anywhere. I went to the store, and that's when I approached the store clerk. I asked her to please call the owner on whatever emergency contact information she had, and she was not able to contact anyone. So from then till 5/6 to now, we've not been able to gain information relative to our request. The unit has been repaired, but as far as whether the product was properly discarded and new product was replaced, we don't have that full information.
Okay. What do you have to say about this?
On June 8th, a day later, the invoices were emailed, and then on the day 14 were emailed, and then 28 same invoices were emailed 3 different times. We fully complied. The products we did hold for about a day. We wanted to make sure if we could get a credit from the insurance or not, and then it was discarded, freezer was fixed. The only things we disputed we had, somebody didn't check the email, and all these informations were emailed to them a day later.
Why didn't you call her back to tell her this?
I did?
You called her?
Yeah, we did. We called the town hall.
Health agent?
This is the email we used right here on the card.
The email here, I believe, is incorrect. Middleborough is spelled wrong. So that could be why Gene never was.
Possibility, but
No, that would be definite.
Yeah.
Misspelling an email, I ain't getting it.
it didn't say back to me. I can show you my iPhone.
So,
It did go through.
okay, I need you on the microphone. Well, but why didn't you just make a phone call to Jean and say what was going on, to talk to her, or talk to the one of the health agents about what was going on?
I wasn't aware of anything that was going on. My health called me that they need the invoices. I emailed the invoices. I didn't get
So
the,
somebody at your facility
Yes.
didn't tell you that the health agent was in and that there was product that was bad as recorded? They didn't give you this information?
No, I was there that day it happened. I met Jessica. I was there that day. We called the electrician, the refrigeration guy, the same day. He was there within an hour and a half. He was there right after she left. There wasn't anything wrong with the freezer. There's a note on it, but we discarded everything. And we provided the information.
All right, but why didn't you? Well, Jean's saying that she made several attempts to contact you.
I didn't get anything from my house. If I had gotten anything, I would have called her right back.
Mr. Chairman, I did call his number directly, and I called the emergency number that's in the application directly. In addition, he sent out the order on June 17th, which he signed the green card for, and I still did not receive any word.
Okay. You have a question?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Jean, you're saying this happened on May 6th?
Correct.
The 1st? And I believe you went back the 7th, the 8th of May. And this is dated a month later.
Yes.
So I'm just questioning why, well, first of all, it didn't go to the correct email, but it's a month after the fact.
We didn't get the product. We were not sure what was wrong with with our freezers. As soon as we got the products, we sent the invoices.
So they were
As
empty?
soon as I got the message, I emailed.
So they were empty for a month, and you didn't purchase anything to replace them for a month?
Not on the right. The date we purchased is on
June
on the invoice.
8th.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm finding some discrepancies with what we're being told and what is in the email. On the 6th, the inspection was taking place. On the 7th, the food still remained in the freezer. And on the 8th, apparently it had been restocked. And now, Chaudhry is telling us that a month later, he's got invoices to restock it. That's not adding up in my book. We should see an invoice from May 8th or May 7th.
Right. Was it empty?
No, the 24th. And as far as the incorrect email address, that certainly isn't on anyone except who sent the email.
Any other
We had a
comments?
nice invoice with Trident on it, but I don't think that goes in the freezer. Cheez-Its, I'll try that, but I never put Cheez-Its in the freezer before.
Here's your tea. Mr. Quill, you had something?
Mr. Chaudhry, I do have some experience in the food industry, and I realize that getting credits for food sometimes can take a little bit of time, but I just want to reemphasize to you that when you're giving an order by the health department, regardless of what you're, whether or not you're waiting for a credit from your distributor or from your insurance provider, that doesn't alleviate you from following the directive of the health inspector. If you're told to remove the product, you have to remove it, and if you don't get a credit, that's just something on a business side you have to work out with your supplier. You can't sort of sit on it to see whether or not they're going to give it to you or not.
I spoke to Jessica, she was there at the same day, and it was okay for her to keep it until the next day, until 3, not after 3. And we didn't have anything after 3. We discarded the whole thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's different. You're following direct. You made it sound like the first time like you didn't do it because you hadn't heard back from your supplier or your insurance.
No, she gave us
okay.
the time frame to move it. And that was sufficient for us to make a call the next day and find out if there is any,
And to clarify, we allow anybody to make those accommodations, but the unit itself has to be covered with signage saying not for sale.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it has to be totally segregated from any of the for sale product. And there was some confusion about that because apparently Jessica got from them that, well, the employees were taking it and some of the stuff had been replaced. So there was mixed stories regarding the product.
And honestly, sir, I wouldn't be giving that stuff to your employees either. If a health agent has told you really shouldn't be consuming this food at all, I mean, your employees are just as susceptible to whatever.
I agree with you, but the technician who came to check the freezer, she should have the note, the copy we provided. He clearly stated that nothing was wrong with the freezer and the food is totally fine. I can give you his number, they can provide you the copy of the piece of paper they gave it to us. So employee thought rather than throwing it away, if he can take few home, which I had no quarrel because because we were there to check it out, the food was fine, but we discarded. We didn't even let him take. We had the time frame to discard it before 3 p.m. the next day, and we did that.
Okay. I'm all set, thank you.
All set? All set? Anybody have any comments or questions? No? Well, I don't see anything in here about what we can do with this. What are we supposed to do with this hearing now?
I think in my
There's
notes,
a-
I requested that the board consider a suspension of the operation of the food service retail operation here for a specified period of time.
5 to 7 days.
Am I missing something?
My memo.
That's right, yeah.
Where is it?
And one of the concerns here I have is that we truly made numerous attempts over the last 2 months to get a response through their emergency numbers, all the phone numbers we had, and by visiting the store, and we had no response, not even a phone call back.
Are all of the numbers accurate that Gene has?
I'm not
It's
sure.
from their
She has
application.
my number. I know I received one call.
Well,
It's on their
I
application.
want you to, sir, one of the things I want you to do is to get to her accurate numbers, because if our police or fire has to get a hold of you, They want to be able to get a hold of you. You don't want them, they will get into the building if they have to. They have a key, but, okay.
May I say something? Sir?
Sure.
I think it's miscommunication or something. There was not any lack of response from my end. I got the call that they needed the invoices, and I emailed it. And then I got a call from the store that she has not received the invoices. I emailed it again to the, unfortunately, I used this email.
So you emailed it to the wrong email address?
There's no email on that. This is the only email address.
Then I
Okay.
must have
All right, sir. So we have two conflicting stories. We've heard your side, we've heard Gene's side. Now it's up to this board to make a decision. The recommendation is for a 5 to 7 day suspension of food service. Now, any other comments or questions? All right, I'll close the hearing. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley.
I make a recommendation that we suspend the food service permit for 5 days.
Okay, effective when?
Why not coincide with the other one?
Thursday to Tuesday? This Thursday to next Tuesday?
Sure.
Second.
And we have a second. Comments or questions?
Mr. Chair,
Sir.
This
May
sounds
I
like,
say something, sir?
Not right now.
Not now.
this sounds like an opportunity for staff training that needs to happen.
Communications training? All right, motion, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You're going to suspend your food service over this Thursday afternoon, or this Thursday to next Tuesday. No food service. You can't sell anything, any food products, and coincidentally, you can't sell any cigarette products. Communication is important. When people call you, you have to respond. Okay?
I did respond.
Well, the information we have here is conflicting, and it doesn't wash for us, for the board. So, thank you. Next hearing is for Super Petroleum. You can just give me a moment, I have to get the proper hearing notice. We'll get it sooner or later. Okay, Super Petroleum. This hearing is concerning an official notification that on 6/23/13 at approximately 1:28 p.m. during a routine compliance check to enforce Town of Middleborough's Board of Health rules and regulations relative to sale, vending, and distribution of tobacco within the Town of Middleborough, an employee at the Super Petroleum Inc. sold tobacco products to a minor. The hearing is now open, and this would be Mufti Ghazi?
No, that's the owner of the company, sir.
The
My
owner?
name is Michael Burr, I'm the operations manager.
Okay. So, we have a sale of cigarettes to an underage person.
Yes.
Gene, you want to go first? Anything you can add to that?
This is similar to, this was all done the same day. This was another sale to a minor on the same date. So you can see from the report. It names indicates who the salesperson was, what they bought, the day of the week. And I also included in this one in that, although this would be considered again under the category of first sale because it is outside the 3-year time frame, this is the business that did sell in the previous 3-year time frame. Within 1 month it would have been in this time frame. And I hadn't gone further back in my records, but I do believe we've had this business in prior to that even, in the other.
But it hasn't been in for 3 years, so.
Yes, it has
That's
not
the bottom line.
Correct.
Month is a month. Okay, sir, do you have anything you want to?
First of all, I cannot speak to the private.
No, I'm only asking you to
I've
consider.
only been with the company a couple of years.
I'm concerned about this issue
We
right
have
here.
absolutely no defense for what happened on June 23rd. What I can tell you is that the woman who was employed at that station on Sunday afternoon on the date that this occurred is a mature woman who has been with Cumberland Farms for about 9 years with extensive tobacco training, works for us 1 day a week, being Sunday, who has also signed off that she has received training by us. Fully recognizes her responsibility and takes her job very serious. Since the day of this allegation, she's offered a resignation twice because of this. As late as today, she called me knowing that the hearing was tonight and said that if she was bringing any ill will on Susan Cohen, she would offer a resignation. She understands her duties, she knows what her responsibilities are. She had a lack of judgment. There's no other defense. We as a company also have access to the same computer systems that the prior gentleman indicated. Our company policy is anybody under the age of 30 should be counted. She cannot explain why this happened, how it happened. We have no defense.
Okay. What have you done?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We're discussing Super Petroleum?
Yes.
Right.
All right,
But she works in another place.
She works at Cumberland Farms full-time. She works for us on Sundays.
All right. I got confused. Because
I wasn't going to use
Cumberland Farms is up next. I hope she wasn't working that day.
I wasn't sure that might be a smart move. But in the interest of full disclosure, she is fully trained.
Okay, what steps have you taken? Now that you've had a situation happen, what steps have you taken?
I've spoken to Kate 3 times since the incident, have gone over complete training with her again. All 3 employees that work at that location, as well as our other location, have been brought in and retrained in accordance with the laws. We have a card everybody policy. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. Board members? Any questions? No. Mr. Farley.
This is, the report from Super Petroleum says it's a guy, an Indian or Pakistani, heavier set.
Kate was there on that Sunday.
Just reading the report, I wasn't.
I don't know, she works on Sundays.
I'm just telling you what the report says, so there's a discrepancy there.
All I can tell you, based on the letter that I received citing Sunday afternoon on June 23rd, her time card indicates that she was the employee on duty.
All right, well, this report's telling us that a guy, a male, adult, Indian or Pakistani, heavy set, sold the cigarettes to a minor. So maybe your employee shouldn't be tendering a resignation for selling cigarettes. Maybe she should tender a resignation for letting somebody else work her shift.
The gentleman that you're referring to works on Saturday. If the letter from the town has got the wrong date on it, then that would describe the gentleman that you're referring to.
6/23?
6/23.
The report's stamped June 24th as received. So I don't know. If our report's wrong, we have to, I would suggest we throw this out. But I'd like to know.
It's received on the 24th, but it says the date of the check was the 23rd.
Right. What are those dates?
Sunday is the
Well-
23rd.
Sunday's the 23rd.
The 24th of June is the Monday.
Is a Monday, so that's one of them. Gene, do you have any clarification on this?
No, this is what they found when they did the compliance check.
So we had an Indian or Pakistani,
The gentleman.
male,
Male,
adult,
adult.
dressed as a woman.
I don't think that would be possible if you saw it.
Well, there's a conflict here.
It would make a very nice looking one.
I don't know. Well, how do we,
We accept the fact that the incident obviously occurred regardless if there is or is not a discrepancy in the dates. I can only tell you based on the letter I see from their town, Kate was the employee that particular afternoon. Now, if they were there on Saturday or Monday, it would have been a different person.
well, 6/23 is a Saturday, a Sunday rather. Okay. You sure there wasn't a shift swap?
She works all day, sir.
Mr. Chair.
This says female Sonia.
Regardless of who the individual was, there was still a violation.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
Nothing.
Yeah, this report says it says 1/28, 6/23, the date is Sunday.
Well, maybe there was somebody,
I don't know, something for them.
but
But I do
he's
agree with
accepted,
Mr.
he's accepted the facts. Any
We'll
other
accept
comments
the
from the
report,
board?
you know, but the report's the report, it stands on its own merits.
Any other comments from the board? Mr. Quill?
No, I'd say
No? Okay. Hearing's closed. It's a pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley?
I make a motion that we institute a $100 fine on a 5-day suspension of tobacco sales.
Okay, what would the 5 days like to be?
Same thing.
This coming Thursday to the following Tuesday?
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Just a clarification question, does the product have to be removed from the store?
Yes.
But it's not being sold?
Has to be removed from the shelves, I believe.
Okay.
You can check with Jean, I'm sure she'll be more than happy.
From the shelves, it can be locked in a storage? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Continuing on to the next event, which is Cape Way Convenience Store. This letter is an official notification that on 6/23/13, approximately 4 p.m., during a routine compliance check to enforce the Town of Middleborough's Board of Health rules and regulations relative to the sale, vending, and distribution of tobacco within the Town of Middleborough, an employee at Cape Way Convenience Store sold a tobacco product to a minor. Your hearing is in front of the Middleborough Board of Selectmen, acting as the Board of Health, at 8:10 p.m. on Monday, July 29th, 2013, at the Town Hall. Meeting is open. Jean?
This is similar to the others, on the 23rd, 4 o'clock, and restriction of the sale to the minor.
Blonde and glasses? Female?
Female.
Adult? Sold chew to a person? Okay. And you are from the Cape Way?
Yes, I'm Kirsten Cody, I'm standing in for my husband.
Okay.
Obviously, she sold it, she apologizes, as do I. I retrained, and before, we always had a policy, if they look 30 or younger, ID, from now on, everybody gets ID, whether they look like your grandfather. And we did wrong, we know it.
Okay. Board members? Any comments or questions?
Gene, if you just could,
Sure.
because it's just a little different than the other one. So I'm just kind of getting back to your script here. This particular situation, an ID was asked for, so I'm assuming that your minor said, I don't have one. Because it says here, was the purchaser asked for an ID? Yes. Was the purchaser asked his or her age? No. Was an ID-based check, which means, I'm just guessing, that's part of the script is, do you have an ID? No. And then the sale was made anyway. Okay.
What's that?
Well, you know, in some ways that's even worse, because some of these people can just say, I forgot to ask. This way, you're being told, I don't have
know
one.
that she was asked.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that she asked.
She was asked for an ID and she said, I don't have an ID. So well, I'll sell it to you anyway.
Did you get a copy of this report, miss?
Not of the report.
Our ever so cooperative health agent.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't tell me that. But I did reprimand her, and if anything like that happens again, she will be terminated.
Okay. It's okay, Mr. Pope?
Do you have that software as well?
No.
I mean, you know, it helps. It just helps with the procedure.
If it's used, absolutely, absolutely.
Something to think about. Thank you.
Any comments? Board members? No? Okay. All right, hearing's closed. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley.
make a motion that we institute the $100 fine and a 5-day suspension, same as the others.
And that would be this Thursday?
To Tuesday.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the board? All
So
those-
it's starting Thursday morning or Thursday evening? I just want to make sure.
Thursday
It's
morning?
Thursday all day.
Thursday morning.
And Tuesday we're back on?
Right, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. And now, on to... Shouldn't have said that.
Sonoma.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get there from here. I hit the wrong button. You know when you hit the little side? It
No,
just-
I have to.
Yeah, me too.
I know.
Jumping around.
I am gone way beyond it now. So Sunoco is... Sunoco, South Main Street. Okay. This letter is official this hearing will be concerning the letter of official notification on 6/23 at approximately 2:25 p.m. during a routine compliance check to enforce the town of Middleborough's Board of Health rules and regulations relative to the sale, vending, and distribution of tobacco within the town of Middleborough. An employee at the Sunoco station sold a tobacco product to a minor. Your hearing is in front of the Middleborough Board of Selectmen, acting as the Board of Health, scheduled for Monday, July 29th, 8:20 p.m., Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Ave. Meeting's open. Jean?
Again, this was a sale during that time period. The clerk was an adult male living in Middle Eastern descent. And again, it was a cigar. We're finding that the single cigars are becoming a problem, not only with sales to minors, but it's also a cheap thing for kids to go in and get. So originally, I did not think that was going to be a problem when we looked at our regulations. But I'm hearing more and more through the towns that it is. And this is a 70% sale.
You are VJ Brunball?
Yes.
Okay, sir. You received all this paperwork? You're aware of all this?
Yes.
And what do you have to say?
I don't argument, sir, but basically I said for me and my wife, and last 2.5 years this business I run, but nothing ever problem, and I don't sell. I have personally I sell rules and regulations.
Could you just step a little bit closer to the microphone?
I follow rules and regulation, and I don't sell in without ID, not cigarette, cigar, anything, not any lighter too. But that day, my birthday, June 23rd, and I am religious person. I go in temple in New Jersey, so I need help, and somebody is giving help, and he don't care, and I have problem. So whatever I accept in whatever you.
You're accepting responsibility
My responsibility, yeah.
for your person you had step in and free under the bus. Nice. For 73 cents. Wow. Okay. All right, board members, any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley?
I have a question for Ms. Spalding. Actually, and for you too, Mr. McKinnon. But I seem to remember that this isn't the first time for this location.
Not the Sunoco.
The Sunoco down?
This is the Sunoco, you're correct. It sold, Sunoco sold in the previous 3-year period, but in that time frame, it also changed ownership.
Okay. All right, so that clears this late for me. Pardon me? Yeah. Because you were on the board last time.
Wish I could say I remember that.
I wish I could remember like my password to my email account as well as I remember some of this stuff.
I wish you would remember that. I was in the middle of all that before. All right, so you got a new owner, so you have a clean slate, but it's still problematic because we have a problem in our country with smoke.
I follow in this country, this state, everywhere, never nothing ticket in my driving. I live in 13 years, but nothing ticket in my driving license, everything is good. Nothing ever ticket in my, anywhere I live in before New York, but nothing ever ticket. Because personally, I am strictly.
Right.
I don't sell in without ID, I don't make money, that's okay. But I follow in state rules, country rules, and everything.
Well, I appreciate that, sir, and now you're going to have to, what steps are you going to take to prevent this from happening again?
Nothing, whatever you. Because now is, in the last couple months in working road, economy is bad economy. So whatever you, I accept.
Well, I'm sure Ms. Spalding can inform you of some of the different methods out there for retraining your people.
Yeah, I can retrain.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? Meeting is closed. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Frawley, let me guess.
I recommend, I make a motion that we institute a $100 fine and 5-day suspension of all tobacco products starting Thursday to Tuesday.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. $100 fine, suspension of sale of any tobacco products this Thursday morning to the following Tuesday. A motion and a second. Any comments from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you. Cumberland Farms, Richard Fournier. This letter is an official notification. This hearing is concerning this letter. On 6/23 at 2013 at approximately 2:44 p.m. during a routine compliance check to enforce the town of Middleborough's Board of Health rules and regulations relative to the sale, vending, and distribution of tobacco within the town of Middleborough, an employee of Cumberland Farms, sold a tobacco product to a minor. The hearing is in front of the Middleborough Board of Selectmen, acting as the Board of Health, has been scheduled for Monday, July 29th, 2013, 8:30 p.m. at the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Ave. Meeting's open. Gene? We see you.
This sale was done by a male, long brown hair, was over the counter. ID was not requested, and the product was, again, a cigar.
Okay, anybody from Cumberland Farms here? Okay. None? Meeting's closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Farrell?
I recommend a $100 fine and a suspension for 7 days of
Second.
all tobacco products.
Okay. We have a recommendation for a $100 fine.
We can go Thursday to Thursday.
7-day, Thursday to Thursday. For Cumberland.
Thursday to Wednesday.
Thursday to Wednesday, actually. Okay, any comments from the board?
Excuse me, did you do something different there?
Yes, Thursday,
7
7-day
days.
suspension because get their attention one way or the other. Okay. Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
How will they be informed of this?
Ms. Spalding, you will go down and inform them of this?
As soon as we have a written letter, I'll touch base with the board secretary tomorrow, and then we can hand deliver it to all the entities.
Good.
And follow up with checking that the product is removed.
Okay. Thank you very much. And you're going to give them all the parameters?
Yes.
That everything has to be removed out of sight, locked away, and not sold.
And I'm also going to request that the Cape Cod Tobacco Control does another in-service for all the businesses, because this was an increase in our percentages of businesses selling, which was a little disconcerting for me, because we've been, not only do we do our own compliance checks and follow through with that and providing with that information twice a year on our own, the Cape Cod Tobacco Control also goes through.
Mr. Chair, I'm disappointed and frankly a little aggravated that we had 5 businesses that are selling tobacco products to minors. And I hope, if you can, I hope you get into each one of these places during their suspensions and make sure that they're fully compliant with the suspension. If they're not, get them back in here as soon as possible, because I don't have any patience for that. And I hope the board agrees with my
absolutely
my sentiment on that. But yeah, 5 is unacceptable. 1's unacceptable. But if it continues, we'll keep handing out fines and suspensions.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Jackie, you'll take care of the letters?
Thank you.
And you get them with Jean. Jean, you'll take care of the enforcement. Okay, now at 8:40, we have Joe Aruda hearing relative to the changing of a route for transportation of materials out of a earth removal operation. The discussions that were held last meeting concerning moving the direction of the vehicles down Wall Street, I'm sorry, take a right on Rocky Meadow, immediate left on Wall Street, down Wall Street to Carmel, then left on Plimpton and right on Thompson Street, heading back to Bridgewater. Several concerns that I had at that particular meeting were, it looked like this particular permit actually had expired. The original permit was signed 12/17/2007, 3-year permit. So that brings it up to 12/17/2010. And then we have a 1-year additional to that, which should be 2011.
Correct.
This is 2013. I'm thinking that that's
And I
overboard, but go ahead and explain that.
I will. Right here in my memo to the board, included in the packet, should be, hopefully. The Permit Extension Act of 2010 applies to all earth removal permits under the town's earth removal bylaw, which were in effect or existence during the tolling period of August 15th, 2008 to August 15th, 2010. This allows for the automatic extension period of 2 years. So they get another 2 years. So the Harjus, because of this Extension Act, their permit is currently valid until December 17th, 2013. See that? Because there's some other information on that I typed up for it.
Okay, so now the question becomes whether or not we've received a notice that, or a letter, rather, from the Haja Cranberries that they're authorizing Mr. Arruda to speak in their behalf relative to changing the new truck routes. Now, one of the things I did do is I drove down that Wall Street. Wall Street's a narrow street. Wall Street, let's call it east and west, okay, for the sake of argument. East heading towards, from Plymouth towards the Cranberry operation, west heading back up. If you head out on the eastbound side, there is some road deterioration. Can't all be blamed on you, I'm sure. But on the westbound side, there's more deterioration and the road is sinking down, cracking more. Certain areas that are more distressed than others. My concern is, of course, I can't stop truck traffic in town. That doesn't happen. But my concern is we can exacerbate the damage being done to this road because you're going to increase your truck traffic on that road.
Mr. Chair?
You said, yes?
Town Council, I live on this street. I'd like a recommendation for me on the remainder of this hearing. I'm a resident of 25 Wall Street. I just want your recommendation as to whether or not I should still be sitting here right now.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Board members, I would recommend that you disqualify yourself.
Oh, well then, Mr. We have a problem. Because if he lives on Wall Street, I live at the corner of Wall and Plymouth. Wall Street is actually abutting me. So should I disqualify myself also?
Yes.
Okay, if we disqualify 2 out of 5 members for the Board of Selectmen for a earth removal permit discussion, doesn't that negate the possibility of having a discussion? Because we're supposed to have 4 members for earth removal permit discussions.
I don't think so.
No?
I think that's WRPD, Mr. Chairman.
I
I
think
think you need 4 on
Really?
WRPD.
Okay.
The earth removal bylaw requires a simple majority, Mr. Chairman, of a quorum.
I must apologize to you, Mr. Arruda, because I sat in on this hearing last week, and I shouldn't have. I was appropriate. I was improper. So I will now recuse myself, turn this over to Mr. Frawley, and I believe...
Right behind you.
There we go.
How you doing? I didn't have the concerns Mr. McKinnon had. I don't live on that street.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Walter.
a couple of things. Last time, Mr. Arruda, you said that, refresh my memory, did you say that if you don't get this different access, you're not going to be able to complete your earth removal in time of the permit?
It's not my earth removal. We are purchasing material from the permit holder. the material, because of the extended truck route, the material isn't of value. Haju's asked us to finish the project. In the current truck route, we can be competitive. We timed the new truck route, and it takes us approximately a half hour longer to go that truck route, which is roughly $50.
But will you be able to complete the project if you don't get that different route?
We won't. We personally will not. Our market is Bridgewater. Not saying that we don't have occasional out towards Carver, but we try to stay in our own vicinity. With this particular material, it's just the sand. Out towards Carver and Wareham, the sand market is, there's plenty of sand out that way. We look to move the sand in the Bridgewater vicinity. And I was pretty clear that our trucks travel that road. Currently, we have 5 trucks that travel that road from different locations coming back towards Bridgewater. We wouldn't be increasing the truck traffic. We would purchase the material from here first. There's only approximately maybe 4,000 to 5,000 yards left. Once that's gone, then we would continue to the next pit. But we're not going to add 5 more trucks to that road. I just wanted to make that clear, that we do travel that road now legally from a different location in Carver Pit. It makes more sense for us to have our trucks off the main highways where the speeds are lower. Our trucks travel a lower speed rate, whether they're on a highway or they're on a back road. The speed is what dictates the stopping. If they're on the back road, I know some people think that we should be out on the main highway, but all it does is put that weight going that much faster. So we prefer to stay lower speed and a shorter distance. Fuel consumption, time, it all adds up. Today's economy is what you can make of it to keep going. So we just asked the board, let us consider letting us just finish this small portion of this permit.
While I do note that the signage concerns that were brought up last time appear to have been addressed, I'm still having a difficult time with this thought of school starting up and being on the roads with the school buses at that early time in the morning, as well as the concerns about the condition of the road.
Okay, we've been 20 years in Bridgewater. We've never, knock on wood, have been cited for speeding or any close incident with a school bus. Our drivers take extra care. We're a family-owned and operated business. To bring or suggest that we are unsafe on the same time as a school bus is to say that whether we're coming out of this pit or any other pit, we recognize the school buses, we respect the school bus routes. Our drivers are very courteous. Whether we're on that road or any other road, to me, time, it's the moment. It could be after school. It's more of a concern to me than during school. Buses, we recognize buses on the road. Our drivers are all paid by the hour, so speed is not an issue. Safety is a huge issue with us. Deterioration of a road, I don't think they can blame that particularly on our trucks. Trucks do wear roads. We also have a bond set up that if they did think it was our trucks, the road could be repaired from that. I think we go down any road today, the wear, whether I'm on that road or the next road over. So the wear of the road is a concern for everybody. I understand that. Can't say that our trucks don't wear the road, but that's why we pay the state tax and the road usage tax. So my concerns, I hope, are the same as yours, that we abide by every rule that you apply to us. Our last pit was off of that road. We never had any issues. This new issue that was brought up, we addressed, we stopped, So we got the permission of the board. More of a, it's the same route that we've been using for the last 20 years. Same time frame. We don't start any, I think that the highway superintendent, previous and current, both stated that we've never been caught in our pit ever early, or leaving early. There was some confusion. I believe the gentleman that brought up the time that the truck passed his house. The Carver pits start at 7. The Middleborough pits start at 7:30. So he might have saw that truck go by and assumed that it was going to that location. But we, we do haul out of different locations, and if they're going to Carver, they use that road, and they could have went past his house.
And that won't change. If you're in the Middleborough pit, the Carver pit's still gonna start at 7, those trucks are still gonna go down
Right,
that road.
yeah. Just
Do you
basically.
you fix your stickers and your signs and everything?
I think we have a sticker.
Well, I ask because, yeah, we have pictures with the new sticker on them, but the sign still says 7-2. I don't know if you fixed that.
The sign, they had not got the sign person to go out and fix it, which is a very minor alteration. I was going to have it all done at the same time. That is the standard sticker that we put on all the vehicles.
That you put on your trucks.
So I didn't go forward till I had the approval of the board. If you didn't like that sticker, I mean, that's the one that, the company that does them for us does them for a lot of different, so I just wanted to see if you wanted something changed on that before I had them make that, if you wanted something changed on the pit sign. I'm not gonna haul out of that pit sign till you tell me what.
As long as as far as I'm concerned, if your sign matches your stickers, and this is it, if this is your sticker, I'm okay with that. But we just need them all to have the same number.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Were you okay with the size of this?
I see these stickers all the time. I'm on the road a lot.
That addresses a concern we had about that.
That was, yeah, I'm just going by the email that we have from Mr. Peck.
It's difficult to get the size, because the trailer's braced, so those stickers kind of just fit in between the bracing. I think that's how the size was determined.
And your start time 7:30, you're not going to stop before 7:30?
No, sir.
I'm okay with that. What are you doing about the dust and the noise? What can you do about the dust and the noise on the roads?
The dust at the bog is controlled with the irrigation system. The noise, I didn't think we had any noise complaints. I've never received a noise complaint from anyone. I think where we load the trucks is probably 1,000 feet off the street or better to the closest house. It's kind of centrally located in that pit, so I haven't received any noise complaints.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Knowlton?
Through you to Charlie, have we gotten any further description of these complaints? Because, again, we got this message that says numerous complaints from residents. Do we get any further?
I don't have any more information than that.
I believe we're about to get some clarification on this. Before we do that,
Mr. Chair, I have a question. If you could just clarify, because you have 2 jobs going on here, correct? One already uses this route? Is that what you said before?
Actually, not jobs, but locations.
Locations. Okay, one already uses this route, and you're saying that the traffic, if you start to use this route for the other location, is not going to increase?
Same amount of trucks. Same amount of trucks. All we do is we stop from one location, we go to the other location, and that location's determined on the material.
Same amount of trips, same amount of trucks, nothing is going to increase?
Nothing changes. It's the same trucks, whether they do 8 loads out of Middleborough or they do 8 loads out of Carver. The only thing that increases is the time. If they're going to Carver, they'll see the trucks a little earlier in the morning and a little later at night. That's the only thing that increases. The trucks do 8 loads a day. Whether they come out of Carver, it takes them probably 10 hours to come out of Carver. It takes them under 8 hours to come out of Middleborough.
So it will still only be 8 trucks every day, no matter what? Nothing
8
is going
loads.
to change? 8 loads?
8 loads per truck. 5 trucks.
What concerns me is we're still getting a lot of complaints from residents. The residents, they don't want it, basically. And any increase in that, it's just, I mean, if you're going to be handling both sites.
There's no increase. I
Okay.
only own 5 trucks.
All right. If you swear, there's no increase.
There's no increase. I've been doing this for 20 years. I think that the issue that was brought to my attention was a signage issue, which was our fault. And, you know, our trucks have been traveling that road. I didn't realize that you had a specific truck route for that pit. And I try to explain myself that it was, I thought the board, when we discussed this before, we did different routes, and the truckers would tell you which route they preferred, and we would try not to combine, so trucks wouldn't be, if Lopes, when he was doing that pit, came the same truck route as me, they would have, double the amount of truck traffic. So when I realized that I wasn't doing that, I didn't think it was a problem. So I just went the same route that I've been taking. So we all try to stay to our own truck routes so that people have some sort of a knowledge of what they're going to be dealing with.
I'd like to hear from Mr. Lassat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to present to the board a petition, and it reads, "Dear Board of Selectmen, please don't allow gravel trucks to divert from the permit for 7-4 issued to Dana and Derek Haji, which was established route from the Rocky Meadow, Wall Street, Cranberry Bog. During the school year, children waiting at school bus stops and plus the buses have to contend with these huge vehicles. Residents on these narrow, curved, and sometimes hilly streets don't need additional heavy trucks operating on the streets. As residents of Middleborough, we ask our selectmen to require the trucking firm to observe the permit route and regulations established by the board. Thank you in this important matter. And everybody that signs this knows that they are supposed to come out of that pit, take a right-hand turn going down Rocky Meadow to Purchase Street, out to 58, and use the highway. And it was sent and mentioned and hinted that perhaps these guys with an overload does not want to go through Carver to see the cops coming along or a truck inspection team. I'm going to present this to you because we have the whole street, Plymouth Street, from Wall Street down to Carmel, with the exception of 4 homes when the people weren't home. People are absolutely fed up with this, especially now finding out after months that he was diverting the traffic down to us, and he wasn't obeying the thing, and he admitted to you he did not know that was the route. Well, I find it amusing when he keeps mentioning Lopes would probably come the same way. Lopes operated at that pit from about 2001 to 2002 when they were building a reservoir in there, and they used that particular route, and they're farther away from their base of operations. They went down Rocky Meadow, Purchase Street, out to 44 by 58. And they did that for years. And if you did see a Lopes truck, it wouldn't be a bumper sticker size thing that you people just have there now. He had about a 2x2 placard. So if you were 100 yards away, 50 yards away, you basically could make out the numbers. That type of thing, you'd have to run up back of the truck, like I mentioned the last time I was here, and you get whacked with pebbles trying to read the darn thing. It should be a big readable plaque, as the contract states, as the permit states, clearly visible and readable, not to make you take a guess and see what the heck is on there. And the other thing is, this is the one I gave you last week, 2 weeks ago, showing you, so you know that Lopes was involved. This sign there tells you Lopes was involved. And that was for years. And now, he talks about, yeah, there's some damage to the road, something could, somebody's doing damage, he doesn't do damage. These are pictures of when the trucks come out of that pit and make their left-hand turn, and it's gonna show you what happens to the roadway. Now, I sent an email to each and every one of you. I don't know if you received it. Did you receive an email from me? Okay, thank you. And in that email, I said to you, I thought I'd send you folks a copy of the email from Ms. Shanley, which addressed some of my concerns about the earth removal project in Rocky Meadow Street near Wall Street. The earth removal permit, and I know it's something that maybe, Alan, you probably got involved with one, maybe, but I don't think anybody's had one in the last 5 or 6 years in town, that they've come in with an earth removal permit and the Board of Selectmen had to entertain it. The prior boards always listened to the residents. They wanted to know if there was a problem, what they could do to resolve it. And they made that 28-section permit. And that permit was issued to everybody in the past that was doing a thing. It's a contract. It's an agreement with the town and the operator of that cranberry bog to do it in a nice way, so nobody could get in problems. So in the emails I sent you folks, so people in town will know what I'm talking about, I put down among the conditions for earth removal are several areas of concern, which I mentioned at the July 15, 2013 meeting. Condition 1, as the original time frame for this permit was in 2007, and granting of a 1-year extension until December 17, 2011, why is this project still functioning? I think Jackie mentioned there's an extension now for 2 years. Who collects permit money anymore? Is anybody getting a permit to get an extension? I don't understand that extension.
It's not our call. It was a state legislative act that gave across the board 2-year permanent extension that had, superseded this bylaw. So we had no say. It was done. We have to respect it.
Okay, so
he's got a valid permit.
So I understand he's got a valid permit, but the extension, was the town able to grab
no.
Nothing? Nothing?
No.
Wow. Terrific for us.
There wasn't a town in the state that got a...
I understand that now, but somebody's getting... Okay. Condition 2, I honestly think at 6:30 a.m. start time during the school year is a serious mistake. Younger students are waiting for and mostly riding a school bus at that hour. Permitting heavy 18-wheel trailers on the same roads on a school bus route may be rolling the dice, so to speak. These roads are noted for their narrow widths, no sidewalks, lots of curves, and in some sections hilly. Safety should be the main concern for our school children. During the school year, the start time should be at the earliest 8 a.m. Condition number 7 in that permit relates to quarterly reviews. How could the improper permit sign remain hanging, which the select board saw in a photo was for the O'Connor project that had been completed at 7/28/08? Was the Harju project inspected during the past quarters? Isn't this about the time of the year for a quarterly inspection? Could you answer that, Mr. Manager? Who's in charge of these inspections now for the quarterly period?
That's not the issue here.
It is the issue.
All right, so they corrected the sign, it's fixed. Next issue.
That wasn't the answer.
That's the answer.
Are we getting our $400 every quarter?
Of course we are. Next issue.
And who's inspecting? I have no idea who I would have to contact.
The Public Works Director inspects. Next
Who
issue.
does?
The Public Works Director inspects. Next issue.
Thank you very much. Conditions of 11 and 12. Has this property in question been inspected recently by the Conservation Commission? They're on the inspection program also.
That's the Conservation Commission. Next issue.
Condition 15, as presented to the board on Monday, July 15, 2013, this section addresses the route which is specific. The hauler was not adhering to the route at his own choosing. He never approached anybody, he just did it, and he admits to doing that. And that's why the people are very upset with this situation, having these trucks come through. Condition 26, This section pertains to the signage for the trucks. All trucks hauling from the site must display a sign on the rear of the truck in an area that will be unobstructed and clearly in view, displaying the town Middleborough permit number. The BRS trucks have bumper stickers, which you have right there, sir, which are absolutely hard to read unless one rides directly behind the vehicle. Lopes Trucking of Taunton, which operated out of the adjoining bog when a reservoir was built, used large white placards, probably 2x2 or larger. The Lope signs could be read from a long distance. Bumper stickers covered in dust and placed somewhere near the bottom of the tailgate are not conducive to an unobstructed and clear view. Thanks for your time in this important matter. So, Mr. Chairman and the board, the residents do not want this thing. It's an unsafe thing, especially during the school years, having this thing when the route has been put into a permit, and we don't like to have that permit changed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Board have any more questions?
No more questions.
You have 5 trucks.
That's all I own.
Each truck takes eight loads a day out of the Carver Road, out of the Carver pit.
Yes.
If they come out of the Carver pit, or if they come out of the Middleborough pit, you got 5 trucks and they're gonna take 8 loads, and they're gonna take that route.
Sir, we've been doing this for 20 years. And
It's
it's insulting that this gentleman speaks for our entire town.
We're not gonna.
Well, I know that I've been.
Sir, we are not gonna get into that.
No,
right?
and I haven't, but the things that when you attack us personally, and when you attack signage saying, gee, Lopes has, why don't he state the facts?
Sir.
The facts should be stated.
Sir, he has his opinion, and he's entitled to it.
I'm just saying, he told us.
Just as a point of reference, since 2 weeks ago when we had this last thing, like I said, I'm on the road at those times, and I'm on the road all around, and I see these stickers, and I don't have a problem with them, because I can see them from quite a distance.
Thank you.
And my eyes are starting to go too. I'm not as young as I once was, you know?
I understand that.
So we don't need to have the discussion about the signs.
you know what I'm
And we
trying
certainly, I don't really care what anybody else is doing. Anybody else has violations, or anybody else has big signs, that doesn't matter to me.
Thank you.
Okay? That's what I wanted to know, was the 5 trucks, 8 loads, whether it's coming out of the Carver pit, or whether it's coming out of the Middleborough pit. And you don't need our permission to ride on those roads out of the Carver pit, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I would entertain a motion. One of you guys has to make a motion, the other guy has to
I
say.
understand that.
I'll make a motion. I move that the board does not grant this request to alter the route.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to explain, here's a permit that's 6 years, going on 6 years. That's 6 winters on the roads, conditions have changed, families in the area have changed, children grow. You know, if a change needs to happen, pull a new permit.
I agree that the conditions of the permit were decided for a certain reason, and we were, you know, no one should take it upon themselves to just change that, and I agree with the reasons.
I don't, but I think the amount of trips down the road will stay the same. I don't have a problem with the sticker. Start time is 7:30, I think it's fine. The permit was allowed to be extended because of the economic conditions that the whole state was in. That's a reality that this town has to live with, that everyone in the state has to live with. What you're doing is you're saying no to a business that can't succeed without this. And I just don't think that that's the proper way to go. I don't have an issue with some of the things that are going on here, especially because those conditions that exist now will not change if we do grant this permit. The same 5 trucks are going to make the same 8 loads down the same route. So what we're doing is we're saying no to a business that wants to do business in the town of Middleborough. That's just my opinion. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. I don't know what we do here, because I guess 2 to 1 is a majority vote. So I apologize on my behalf that the permit has been denied. Your request has been denied.
Well, thank you for your time.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, when the other two gentlemen get back, and I use that term loosely, we'll go over the town manager's report. Welcome back.
Did you break anything?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so that's our last hearing. Now we go to the town manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, first item in the report, I believe you had asked the question of DPW Director Chris Peck about the textile recycling up at the transfer station, and wanted to know how many pounds of material have been taken out of there. And to date, since January, 3,300 pounds have been collected, and we're hopeful that that will grow from there. He also talks about some of the school programs that are also ongoing. Second item, we have a letter from the town of Raynham supporting our design for the Middleborough Roadway improvement. We're looking to get hopefully a couple of other letters from impacted communities and continue to build support for our design with the Department of Transportation. About 2 weeks ago, Congressman Keating visited Middleborough, and we had a very good conversation with him about this same issue. He's very, very well informed of it, and he promised us that he would advocate on our behalf with the State Department of Transportation. So we continue to work on that. There will be a meeting of the JTPG next month in August, where I believe the JTPG will commit a year's worth of TIP funding toward the Rotary project, since it is such a significant regional transportation project, and hopefully they also endorse our design as well. So we're continuing to work very hard to see if we can, and now that the transportation funding is in place, it really is the time to get this move forward. Next item, we've had a number of questions about the curious-looking wooden panels in our windows on the second and third floor of the bank building. We're in the midst of a restoration project for those windows. They were rotting badly and needed attention. We had funding at town meeting to work on that. We're working on it. It's turned out to be a more complicated project than originally thought, as all restoration projects are. So it's taking a little longer than we thought. We were hoping to have it all done in time for Crazy Days. Unfortunately, we won't. But because we were getting questions from a number of people, I just wanted to address it in public, that hopefully soon it'll be all put back together. And one item that's not on this list, I think people are well aware of now, that Eastern Bank has informed us that they're going to be vacating the bank building, which curiously we call it, at the end of October, although I think it probably would be more like December. They told me that they'd like to stay on and make sure everything's wrapped up in a complete fashion. So I just wanted to express my disappointment. I know all of us are disappointed at that. The bank has been there in one form or another for quite a long time. I think what people don't know is how hard we work to try and keep them there. We've been working on this now for over 6 months, and I think we made them a very competitive offer on a long-term lease, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for them to stay. Obviously, we know they banks are consolidating, banks are buying other banks and then, consolidating branches, and unfortunately, I think that's what's going on here. But I started today working on an RFP. We have to issue an RFP to fill that space, and we'll do everything we can to hopefully fill that space with a similar, type of use, because I think it's, it would be perfectly suited for that. So that's all I have for tonight.
Okay,
Mr. Chair? Just along those lines, and I know that Mr. Knowlton has brought this up a number of times, but some of the discussion about that particular location, and a lot of locations in downtown, seem to focus on parking. We have a boatload of parking in Middleborough, just nobody seems to really remember where it is. And like I said, Mr. Knowlton brought this up during his campaign, just about some better signage. I was wondering if maybe we could have a more in-depth discussion on that issue at a later date.
How about just getting some more signs up?
Yeah, actually.
That's what you want to do, let's do it.
No, Selectman Knowlton and I already discussed this, and I asked Chris Peck to, figure out where we can put some more signs without just creating sign clutter, trying to. So, I'll follow up with him, and, see what we can do. Because I think there are a couple of locations where we can, every downtown, the biggest complaint is lack of parking, whether it's true or not. But, so I don't think anything's different here. But we do, unlike many downtowns, we do have a lot of off-street parking, and we should make sure people know about it, so, by all means.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just jumping on that, we also, during the time you were on vacation, we had a couple of individuals approach us about the possibility of 15-minute parking lot areas in front of downtown businesses. Is that something we can just do, or does that need to go in front of?
I think it's something, that's something we should have a further discussion on. I'm not sure I'm in favor of doing that. I think if you do it, the more you do it, then people are going to want it everywhere. If you read their letter closely, the main complaints seem to be about one individual who had a habit of parking in front of one store. That's an enforcement issue. That shouldn't happen to anyone. And whether the regulation says 15 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours, somebody shouldn't be parking for hours in front of anybody's store. Whether it's an individual related to that store, or, in many cases, it can be employees or merchants themselves parking on the street in front of their own stores. It happens. If you'd like to discuss that further, but what worries me is that we all of a sudden, because people see it happening in one place, then everybody wants us to mark everything 15 minutes, and I don't think that works. I don't think that works. But I do, understand, and, if there is a problem with people parking for long periods of time on the street, then we should stop it. There were, when I first got here, there were some town employees who did that, and I made it clear to the town employees that they can't do that. There's plenty of places for employees to park, shouldn't be on the street for long periods of time. If you're just running in and out, that's one thing, not for long periods of time. So and especially now with, we do have, especially in the summer, we have officers, walking, up and down, it'd be very easy for them to identify cars that are, abusing, the privilege and taking action, taking enforcement action. Because either, whatever the regulation is, it's ultimately going to come down to enforcement. We can post 15 minutes, and we could still have that problem if we don't enforce it.
Am I the only one who ever got a ticket in downtown?
No, I got one.
Stop speeding.
I was parked.
That's it. Parking's a bad thing. You got to drive. You always have to just drive.
Keep moving, keep moving.
Okay, one question, or one comment, I think. This clothing, disposing of all textile type material, which includes shoes, which is unusual, but I have used that quite a bit for getting rid of clothing. Because if you just throw it in the dump, it could take forever to deteriorate. It's especially nowadays where they bury everything instantly. But this you can recycle it, and it'll bring $100 a ton back to the town, which is not a lot of money, but if we get rid of a ton of this textile material out of our landfills and reuse it, that's a good way to get rid of materials. And we've got to start recycling more, even though it's more of a pain in the neck, because the costs of disposing of this refuse is not going to get any cheaper. So we really have to start pushing more of this recycling and getting the materials over to the recycling centers.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't recycle enough in my book. And, we're trying to give people, as many options, textiles now, which is great. Things that used to go into the landfill don't have to. Right. So it preserves landfill capacity, it saves the town money, and it provides a financial benefit. So it's a win-win-win.
Right. Anybody else have anything for the town manager? Okay, next item is correspondence. Mr. Quill, let's start with you.
Okay. Well, let's see. Well, we have the notice of intent to sell from Ralph Holton of the Tispecon Family Campground. That was a long story that dates back before any of us were sitting on this board. It certainly wasn't wasn't my intent to in any way force upon this the Holtons. I really just wished that at some point he had seen clear to, put their efforts more towards solving a structural problem than pumping all their financial resources into court battles. But, unfortunately, that's the way she chose to go. But I certainly am in support of campgrounds or anything else. And, we had to take concern for these health codes, especially being so close to a source of water. I'm sorry it came to this. I'm in some ways sorry to see her go, because certainly, from her, when you heard from her customers, she ran a great campground from the standpoint of a customer. Like I said, I wish she had just come around to the codes, as it relates to sanitation and whatnot. But apparently, we may have either a new campground or we'll have something else over there.
Mr. Chairman, can I just add to that?
Certainly.
We have an issue with this notification, and you also have Ruth Joffrey's memo about the notification being deficient. And I talked to Attorney Murray today about that. He's reviewed it. He also believes it's deficient. And the question, I think, for the board is, we could go one of two ways. We could either notify her, if you want to see what a bona fide offer is for the land, if you think the town has some interest in acquiring it, then we should inform her that her notice is deficient and to correct it. We have 30 days to do that. However, if you have no interest in the land, then maybe the proper course of action is just to tell her we have no interest in the land and let her move forward, because then the price is not important to us. It's a private transaction. So I guess that's something you guys need to think about, because we have to decide which way we want to go with that. Do we tell her, sorry, that offer doesn't tell us anything, you have to give us the proper notice, or you say, we're not interested, you can move forward with your own transaction?
Well, Mr. Chair, if I could ask Charlie, historically, when something like this has come upon a town before, has Ruth made a presentation to the board of some sort?
It's not,
to talk about the pros and cons, or anything that, we may not be aware of everything going on here. I'm just trying to get your opinion, really, Charlie, just if you thought that would be at all worthwhile to put on a future agenda.
Well, I think, actually, we also got something from Tricia Cassidy in Conservation, I think, pointing out that I think this property does have some relationship to the open space plan, but, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, every property that comes up is different. Some are, clearly not of any interest, and some are. And we don't follow just one, particular course. It depends on the circumstances, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm open to it.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Foley?
I think it's worthy of a discussion.
Yeah.
I think we should have this discussion at our next meeting if possible. Certainly never wanted it, but if it's going to become available, there's a couple things that could be of interest to the town. One thing is, I believe it's contingent. Not contingent.
Contiguous?
Contiguous, there we go. It's getting late. Contiguous with the Western Forest. I also heard, it's on Tiscapin Pond. There are 2 camps on the pond already. It's a pretty good fishing spot. I've learned how to sail a sailfish on that pond, and did quite a bit of water skiing there too.
Oh, you caught sailfish.
A little sailfish. So it's, like I said, I certainly would like to hear from the residents as well, but I'd like to hear from Trish and Ruth if possible, and I think it would be negligent on our part not to have a discussion about it.
Okay, we can schedule that for...
Next week, next meeting.
Next meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could just comment
Sure, ma'am.
on that. The letter from Tricia said that the last survey of the actual residents as to whether they would like to see that as a town property, a town beach, was done in 2008, and only 20% supported that. So I don't know how recent, if we need to get more of an idea of what the residents would want, how accurate that would be at this point, just as input.
Suppose we can put a question on the town website. Start a town Facebook page. There you go.
Why don't we have a discussion first?
Let's have a discussion first. That's late. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Quill?
No. There's some here that I'd rather just, I think I'll let you guys comment on, like Serpent. I could take that one, Mr. Chair. We did receive a notice from one of our sitting members on the Community Preservation Committee. He was worrying about state ethics laws. First of all, I commend this individual for his professionalism and integrity on this. I really hope nothing comes back from I don't know if it was the Attorney General's office. He's probably just getting a ruling from. This individual has performed music at Soul Homestead, but these fees were so small. I'm thinking they were just to indemnify him for any possible out-of-cost fees he may have incurred by providing that music, and I believe this individual's spouse is simply a volunteer there. So, like I say, I hope nothing comes of this. I really don't see a lot of conflict here, to be honest with you. I think this individual is just playing it safe, but I do commend his like I say, his professionalism and just bringing it up there and make sure that there's nothing there. But he's asking, please advise me participating. I support this right now. I support this individual to continue to sit on the Community Preservation Committee until anything comes back, if it ever does.
I don't think there's any problem with that, no.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to refer to the town of Wareham, number 2, the town of Wareham sending in a letter of support for House Bill 1115 that Representative Gifford has submitted concerning 40B. Essentially, what they're asking is to have the mobile home park homes or individuals who purchase homes with help from the government and the price is right to have them considered in the 40B inventory that the town has. It is getting late, excuse me. Year after year, we're scrambling to fill our quota for the 40Bs, and then when the year ends, they kind of wipe it clean and we have to start all over again. I think maybe the town would think about sending a letter with their support for this bill as well.
Would that be a motion?
I will make it a motion.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to support, send a letter of support relative to House Bill 1115, relative to the low and moderate income housing. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You take care of that, Jackie? Thank you.
And then just briefly, I'd like to congratulate, she's not here, but Sherry Harton Neely, who has been appointed as the new trustee for the library to fill John's position.
Good.
And that will be it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Knowlton?
I was also going to mention the libraries, but since Selectman Dalby already did, that's fine. I have a question on number 6 about the Mass DOT bridge inspection. It mentions, let's get to it here. It mentions repairs that need to be done.
They look to be fairly minor.
Right. Does that become the town's responsibility, or is that something that the state does?
Technical answer?
Oh, yeah, missing stones, patch concrete, small and sidewall. Yeah, we would do that.
Okay. I'm actually glad that the bridge inspectors are out there.
Well, I just want to send them a letter of thanks.
Actually, I think we've already done this. Unless there are new stones missing, we did some stone repair. Do you know of any stones missing? Maybe it's on the other side. Certainly on the sidewalk side, we made those repairs already. This might be old, but we'll double check it.
Anything else, Mr. Norton?
Yes, just number 9 with the Mass Municipal Association. Again, appreciate that's why we're paying our dues. They're fighting a good fight for us.
As are our representatives, who are trying to do the right thing.
Without a doubt.
Charlie, have we received any numbers yet from the state as to what we're projected to get?
Yeah, we netted about $30,000 more than we expected. That's good. Trouble is, our local receipts, I think, are coming in a little lower than we expected, so
Never get ahead.
you can't seem to get ahead.
It's like a regular household budget, you know?
Yeah.
$500 away and the septic system needs to be pumped, so
Yeah.
you're dead. All right. That it?
I'll leave the Badger Wilderness guys for our good friend, Selectman Foley.
Mr. Frawley, I bet you're going to talk about number 8.
Yeah, we'll get there. The Serpent, the Community Innovation Challenge Grant, I thought you might be interested in this, Mr. McKinnon, as well. I know you're the electronic permitting and licensing is interesting. I think it would be a pretty good thing to look into if we could possibly get a grant to help fund that. We've been talking about that for a number of years now, streamlining things and getting things a little bit easier and more accessible to our residents and business people. So this might be the ticket to do something just like that.
We have to send Ross, or is it Ross, or I forget who?
Yeah, it's Ross, yeah.
Is it Ross? We have to send him a letter that we're interested in this? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know who's going to look into it.
So that's, want to send him a
Well,
letter?
what he's saying is here are some possible topics to see how many communities might express an interest. We have expressed an interest in the past in these. I think the last one, though, didn't get funded.
And the last one we did, I think we were asking for partial funds for the,
Yeah, that was
the
one we did.
facilities manager,
That's
right?
one we did locally, but then we did join with one of his, and I'm trying to remember what we did, what he put in for last year, but he didn't get funded. I think there was some collaboration among the boards of health that they proposed.
Oh, with the
that
town of
didn't go
Raynham
anywhere.
or something? Were we doing that?
Yeah, there were a number of
We did
towns.
with Lakeville one year,
Yeah.
I think we went to Raynham
Yeah.
the next year. The, I got another letter.
Yeah, I'll contact Ross and I'll see what, what people are expressing interest in.
I also received another letter from Serpide, it's dated July 12th. It has their comments regarding Project First Light, and it's, I like the letter myself. But I'll just read one quick paragraph. In general, we find that, and they're talking about the environmental impact statement from the proposed Project First Light in the city of Taunton. In general, we find that the report did not offer sufficient concrete actions to mitigate the predicted impacts of the proposed facility, and was especially inadequate in addressing issues in the surrounding communities outside the city of Taunton. Couldn't agree more. So I thought that was a nice little bit of news. So yeah, number 8 is from Dan Badger Wilderness Guides. He's offering wilderness and remote first aid registration. I believe the class is this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Miles Standish. Dan's a pretty smart guy. He's qualified to teach this class. It's a pretty, if you like spending time outside, and this is something you might want to look into. Like I said, I know Dan, he runs a pretty good class. I have a fair number of first aid and CPR classes and certificates and stuff. But basically what happens if you're like hiking up a local mountain or in a canoe or something like that, you get hurt and nobody else is around. Screaming help in the middle of nowhere doesn't do you any good. But this class will help you, address those issues. So if it's something you're interested in, it's well worth the money. And Dan's information is available on it. And that's it for me.
Just as a little backup on that, Dan, the Badger Wilderness Guides issue of first aid. Having done some backpacking up in the White Mountains years back, there are some nice trails up there. Pemigewasset Wilderness is a beautiful area to hike in. Unfortunately, it's built on a rail line, and you can step on a tie the wrong way and you can snap an ankle in there, and it's a long walk in, and it's dicey whether you're going to get any cell phone coverage in there at all. I didn't have a cell phone when I was hiking in there, but it could be very difficult. So something happens, you really want to be prepared when you're hiking in the woods. Okay, I have nothing else, but I believe somebody asked if we could open up unanticipated.
Yes.
Mr. Noel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make the comment that the board does not respond to anonymous letters. So if people wish to address the board in a written form, that's great, but we're not going to respond to anonymous notes and letters.
Is there anybody else that wishes to address anything on Ian? What's a big word?
Unanticipated?
Thank you.
Yes, very quickly, and only because someone sat through the entire meeting here before this could be brought up. The South Middleborough Rail crossings, if anyone saw the the article in the Boston Globe, news to at the town again, the risk assessment is not ready or has not finished. And there was activity there today. I was called to be told that, and the gates up and down and no one there for them, no trains crossing for that, people ready to go around them yet again.
So the risk assessment study that they told us would be done before the first train ran didn't get completed and still isn't complete, and it's August 29th, I believe. I mean, July 29th?
July 29th.
So they've been running for 2 months without the risk assessment plan that we can't get a copy of?
I also heard today from someone in Rochester, because they're having the same problem with their crossings, that they did meet their numbers, and therefore it is financially feasible for them to continue, not only this year, but next year.
Maybe we'll get a risk assessment for next year.
Oh, I'd really like to be able to park one of our old police cars on the tracks.
It's perfect.
Joe, we get a former selectman to sit. He could disappear before, he could escape before the train comes.
I'm sorry, sir. Would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Richard Young, 14 West Street. I just wanted to add to the railroad process situation.
Not with any murder intent or anything, right?
No, the interesting part that was, the article was forwarded to me by a selectman. And then I didn't realize that the Cape Rail Flyer had a Facebook page. But if you actually go to the Facebook page, one thing that I would recommend, and Charlie Cape would be on comment, was either last weekend or the weekend before, is they put out a notice due to extreme heat. They reduced the miles per hour of the rail, and it would require, it was so far set back that certain people wouldn't be able to make the ferries because they're trying to run the ferry, and they were actually busing people from, I believe, Bourne to make sure they made the ferry on time, because now they're even reducing it below the 30 miles an hour that's going along the canal route. So the idea that they can't reduce these trains is ludicrous, because they reduced them in that case, and they also said so on the Facebook page, so I just wanted to point that out.
What's even more ludicrous is the fact that they indicated that they would have this feasibility, this safety study done before the first train went down. Yes, ma'am?
Hi, Sherry Swindle, 82 Mill Street. Just a quick note. Told BS that they ever did any community outreach. Abutters still have been told nothing. We see activity down there occasionally, but they've done no outreach, so please don't let them come and tell you that they have.
Oh, don't worry, they don't come to tell us anything.
We don't. Please feel free to post pictures on the Cape Flyer Facebook page. One of our abutters does do that. They take them down, but we do try to post them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, having nothing else on the agenda.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, we're adjourned.